Good evening, race fans. Welcome to a special edition of Motorsports Magazine. Highlights from the July 30th card at Airborne. It's special because it's mid-season championship night here at the Speedway, even though we only have about 5 racing events left after. This is mid-season championship night. 20 laps for the street stocks, 30 for the Tigers, and 40 laps for the late model Sportsman. So anything can happen, and you know that when they get past the regular distance for the regular main event, that's where all the action will occur, and someone will say, boy, if this just hadn't been an extra distance, I have one in the bag. Right now, I'll bring in my colleague, Rob Knowles, and of course, Rob wasn't here last week. He missed all that great action, but we'll forgive him. He's here this week, and Rob, you missed some good action last week, but you're back on a real good night.
Steve, as you said, there's only about 5 races remaining on the schedule for the regular competitors in the late model Sportsman, the Flying Tigers, and the Street Stocks. But I saw the show last week, and I saw the highlights, and why don't you recap for the people at home what happened last week?
Well, it was nothing too eventful. It was a regular card of racing, a lot of excitement along the way. Brian Pugh picked up another street stock victory, and we saw him as he was pulling in the pits, and Rob will testify. He said, why are you calling me the Dominator? Well, he's beginning to be a Dominator. That's why. He is coming to life with a 29 machine. We are going to wait while we talk about the street stocks. We want to see if the 77 shows up. We'll cover that a little bit later in the show. There might be a problem with the 77 machine, which has been really Brian's biggest competition so far. In the Flying Tiger division, we thought Gary Wood picked up his second win of the year. We were wrong. Jason Leo was credited with the win. Gary DQ'd in the tech line, but that sounds harsh. You know, they said it was an engine infraction. It was technically, but there was nothing really illegal with the engine as much as the bolts that held the engine in, and it's a very complicated procedure. But the thing is, most of the drivers will say, well, you know, he's not the only one. There's 2 or 3 other guys who said a lot of cars are running with those. Gary was the one who got caught with them. Bet you there's not as many in tonight. In the late model Sportsman division, Brian Hoare picked up his first win of the year, and, you know, maybe he'll carry that momentum into tonight. Doug, his dad, was not in attendance. Doug's here tonight, though, so they'll both be competing in their 40-lap main event.
Steve, I understand a couple of local competitors were in the add-on 150 for the American Canadian Tour. I was pleasantly surprised to hear that Bucko Branham made some minor changes to his car and had a great 11th place finish in his first outing ever with the ACT.
Well, I am not too mechanically inclined, but I could have made the changes. That's how minor they were. What did he do? He put new tires on the car. That was it. He literally went in from the late model race, slapped some new tires on the car, and came out to run with the big boys in the ACT. Had a pretty good run. He was about 100, 150 short on horsepower, but stayed right there and never got in anyone's way. I'll tell you what, you know, he might think about this. Maybe next year, maybe the Fall Foley's 300. Try it again because he really did good out there.
Well, I think that's exactly what American Canadian Tour President Tom Curley wants to see happen, is that some of the drivers from the local divisions that run here at Airborne as well as over at Thunder Road to eventually step up and take a shot at some of those American Canadian Tour drivers the way things happen like in Maine, where the regular late model competitors on a Saturday night or on a Friday night, when the American Canadian Tour shows up, they are there and they're ready to take a shot at the ACT.
Well, Tom will be the first person to admit he wants the late model guys to graduate into that division. That is his premier division, and really the late model Sportsman training grounds are perfect because even though they don't run as many tracks, the cars, while they're not the same, they're close enough that you can make the change somewhat easily. And if you saw my interview with Kip Stockwell, the biggest thing you have to change is endurance. You don't have 25, 30 laps. You have to go 100, 150 laps, and that's really the only thing you have to change as a driver.
And the winner of the add-on 150, who was it?
Ah, yes, the 24 machine of Mike Rowe, and it was a surprise because even though he finished in the top 5 the last time they were here on July 2nd, he was not considered by any means to be a major shot to win the race. He won it when the 55 of Lane and the 10 of Ralph Nason got together in turn 1. It would have been decided between those two. Nason finally had things going his way. He just came up about 10 laps short. Layden was en route to his second consecutive win here, but they tackled. Mike Rowe went right in between them and then held off a hard challenge by Donald Forte, Derek Lynch, Kip Stockwell, and Claude Leclerc.
All right, so I understand it was quite an exciting race for the ACT. This week, Steve Hayes, we have as one of our goals to head over to the pits and conduct interviews with the points leaders. And if we look at the point races, the closest at this point is in the late model Sportsman division.
Oh, this will be fun. Whenever the late models are on the track tonight, Positions will change every time a checkered falls, I believe, because just look at the top spots. Dave Wickham comes in as our points leader, but only 18 points in front of the 76 Steve Reddit at 647 to 629. Brent Dragon holding down third with 612. Brent Dragon, a guy who doesn't win a race but always finishes in the top three. Model of consistency, he could win the track title by doing that. Fourth is Scott Carpenter, our defending champ, with 596. Rounding out the top five, rookie Ron Weston with 578. And Ron, by the way, also was in the add-on 150, but he had an ACT car. He bought the former Steve Miller car, debuted at Oxford. Remember, he won one of those Oxford spots. 12 drivers got a chance to run for the pole. They came out of 4 to start that race. Ron planted it into the concrete, never did race a lap at Oxford. Got it put together and didn't have too much success here either at Airborne the week after.
In the Flying Tiger points battle, it's Eric Williams at the top. Eric not only leads at Airborne, but he's also the point leader over at Thunder Road, as I believe he leads Ricky Dennis at Thunder Road. What about the standings here, Steve Hayes? Right now, he's the leader. Jason Leo runs second.
Yeah, 57 points the difference between Eric and Jason, 827 to 770. Eldred Hutchins holds down third with 735. Talk to Eldred, he says, I may not catch Eric tonight, but I think I can get by Jason before it's all done. Mark Lambert in fourth with 675, and here's someone we don't talk enough about. Champlain, New York's Mark Eddy is fifth with 664, and Mark Eddy, he's like Brent Dragon, doesn't win, but boy, he's always up front.
The street stocks, you made a comment earlier this evening. Brian Pugh, he has 5 feature wins. He's also the point leader, and right now he's the car to beat in that division.
It would appear that the 29 machine of Brian Pugh maybe en route to a track title. A lot of racing left. He has about a 39 or 36, 37 point lead on Dan Gibbs. Dan led the division early in the season, but that orange and white 92 car hasn't quite fired the same, but he's been having some trouble out there recently. Rick Freyre, third with 726. We'll check on the Rick Freyre story. We'll get into that later. Fourth, Terry Gunnup with 643, and Ralph Doss Jr. with 633. So right now Brian Pugh is starting to pull away, and the way he drives 20 laps, he'll probably have a pretty good run tonight, because I don't think those 5 laps are going to affect him at all.
Here's what's coming up on this evening's Motorsports Magazine racing program. We're headed to the pits. Again, it's our intention to speak to the point leaders in each of the 3 divisions, so that would be Dave Whitcomb, Eric Williams, and Brian Pugh. And then after that, you'll see highlights from the midseason championship racing card, highlights from the late model Sportsman, the Flying Tigers, and the street stocks. Rob Knowles along with Steve Hayes. We're set to bring you the highlights and the interviews from Airborne. Stay with us, folks. You're watching Motorsports Magazine.
My guest right now, Motorsports Magazine, our points leader in the street stock division, even though he doesn't want me to call him the Dominator. He'll admit he's gotten a little lucky lately. The driver of the red, white, and blue, number 29, Brian Pugh. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Hi, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. You're doing really good because, as I say, you've got a 36-point lead going in and double points tonight over Dan Gibbs. And not that that's a big margin, but if you could pick off a win tonight, some of those guys had some trouble. Look pretty good for a 94 title.
Yeah, I'm going to try and play it cool tonight. Just stay on the outside, stay out of trouble, and I know that I've got that in the back of my mind that it is double points, and this is the chance for the guys to catch me. So I'm going to be cautious, but I'm going to still run the car hard.
Well, you've had a year where, right out of the box, you won the first week. You've had 12 races, you won 5, been in the top 5 9 of the 12 times. I still say it's pretty dominating, fans. But you'll be the first to admit it's a situation where other guys get in trouble. You just stay clear of some of the incidents.
Yeah, I got real good brakes. Matter of fact, when they had a brake test about a month ago, it was me I had mentioned to Bill and about some of the officials to have a brake test, and it showed that there was a few guys that didn't have a lot of brakes out there. I can tell you what, I check my brakes every week, and I use them. I use them getting in the corners, and I use them to avoid accidents. You've got a real heads up racing, and it shows. It makes a difference.
Yeah, I know, like a lot of people think that, well, when a guy goes to track, especially if he's a points leader, he tries to stay by himself. He doesn't want to give any help. But Brian helps out a lot of guys out there.
I try to help everybody, and I mentioned that at the drivers' meeting several times. If anybody needs anything, we've got an extra guy that comes with his own personal vehicle, and we send him at the garage if somebody needs parts or even just helping people. I try to help everybody. It doesn't matter. It's a late model or a Tiger or a street stock. I'll help everybody, and that's the way I'm here. I'm here for the fun. And to try to win. I don't want to go out and take second, but I try to help everybody else as much as I can.
You may remember last year, of course, there was only a couple of cars that showed up at the beginning when we started this street stock division, but he missed the first 5 weeks, but he still finished, like, I guess, third in the point standings. So even though he missed those weeks, I mean, he was right up there. He had some good runs last year, but nothing like this year. You've been right on a rail.
It took last year to get the car to set up for this track with the springs that we're allowed to run all stock equipment on the spring and suspension. So last year I sorted a lot of it out, and this year it was good right out of the box. And we don't change much but tire pressures and change the oil, and make sure that the cooling system's good. You got to be careful you don't overheat or anything, and don't over rev your motors, and try to don't outdrive the car. Don't tear the car up for nothing. You're really not winning much, but it means something to go out and take first all the time. I don't want to apologize to everybody because I don't think I'm a dominator. I think that I've been lucky and I've had some good racing room. There's so many guys out there that got cars that can run with me anywheres, and Rick Frenier's one of them, Bobby Wells, Sean Fountain, Corey Trombley. They've all got a lot of good equipment out there, and they're all my friends, so we try to help everybody.
I know not only does he have the street stock guys, but I know that Steve Sinclair will be here, the driver of the number 20 Tiger, and I know you'll be giving Steve a hand, which leads me to the next question. Finances come through. Thinking about jumping into a Tiger next year? You got some experience now in the street stocks.
Yeah, we're waiting for Labor Day. The rules come out. Tom said he's going to bring them out on Labor Day, and if we can run the car that we want to run, I'll be in the Tiger next year.
That's something to look forward to. I want to thank him for joining me. And we have to kind of kick him out of here because his street stock competitors are going out for practice on an important night like tonight. Don't want him to miss any of that time. So, well, thank him for joining me. Keep an eye on that 29. 5 wins and 12 starts. Looking to make it 6 out of 13 at double points night tonight. Brian Pugh. Thanks for joining me, Brian.
Thank you.
Joining me right now, Motorsports Magazine, our points leader in the Flying Tiger division by 57 points on top of the 8 of Jason Leo. He drives the Lamoille Ambulance sponsor's 77 machine, Eric Williams. Welcome back to the show, Eric.
Oh, it's good to be here. Thank you.
Well, tonight is a night, we're talking to him before we started the interview, you cannot afford to get one of those DNFs. And you don't normally do it, of course, but not the night to do it because with 57 points between yourself and Jason and about 90 between yourself and Eldred, you have trouble. Some of those other guys who are right behind you are going to probably win the thing.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they're kind of hoping maybe that might happen, but I'm just going to go out there and race like it's just another race. It's the only thing I can do.
But as usual, you're going to be starting probably deep in the pack again, but then again, so are all the guys right behind you in the points. Now, week in, week out, it's always the same scenario. You got to follow them through or they're following you through. But now you guys have it pretty much to a science, so you generally tuck behind each other, work your way to the front, then decide it.
Yeah. Usually, if you see a fast car in front of you, you tend to follow him, and I think the other guys do the same thing. Gives you a little cushion. If they get in trouble, you might be able to avoid it. That's the way it goes.
Well, you're also the points leader over Thunder Run. I know your mid-season points race was rained out there a couple nights ago, and that's been rescheduled for next month. But pretty tough. We talked about this early in the year to win 2 track titles, but you're in line to do it.
Yeah, I don't know if I can pull it off or not. It's pretty tough. The guys that are running each separate track all the time now, they're getting faster and faster and faster all the time. I'm going to keep plugging away at it and give it my best shot, but, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, we've mentioned 2-3 times this year that Eric Williams and Red Mead generally help each other out a lot. No surprise, tonight, Red Mead in attendance in the pits, not to drive, but he's helping you out over in your pits, and that's got to come in pretty handy if something goes on. Red's there, he's got a lot of experience. He probably has some idea what we can do, too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It takes a load off your mind. You don't have to make all the decisions, and tonight I'm kind of letting Red call the shots on the chassis, and it's a good feeling, having a veteran in there. Hopefully it'll take a little pressure off and I can do well.
Well, we're used to seeing you kind of charge to the front in that 3-4 wide maneuver, but with so much online tonight, you may be going to take it just a little easier, just not going to change my driving style at all. Like you said, Red set up the chassis and I'll deal with it going out there and I'll just do my normal job.
Yeah, I usually don't decide that until I'm going down a straightaway taking the green, Whatever I do, I do. I don't know why I do it or why I don't do it, but I won't decide until then. No specific game plan tonight.
I'll tell you what, though, car gets loose in front, you can bet he's really going to be sure not to tag the back end of it tonight, right?
Oh, we're going to try to keep it as clean as possible. Definitely.
I want to thank him for joining me. The driver number 77, Flying Tiger Machine, a 57-point lead as we start double points night over at Jason Leo. Eric Williams, and I'll tell you what, 2 titles here at here at Airborne at Thunder Road. He may think it's difficult. I think he's got a pretty good chance of doing it. Thanks for joining me, Eric.
Thanks a lot. See you later. Bye. See ya.
See you, Eric.
First Flying Tiger heat takes to the Speedway. We have 7 cars in this first heat, 8 laps of distance, and here's Steve Hayes.
Jeff Plunkett, Ernie Holmes, row 1. Moon Miller, Brian Bushy in row 2. Sparky LePan and Toby Ebersol, row 3. All alone in row 4, the 08 of Kevin Sorrell. Field comes out of 4 to take the first green of the night. Plunkett and Holmes lead up to the stripe. Ernie trying to get in front off the initial start, won't be able to do so as they head into 2. Miller sits in 3rd, Brian Bushy back to 4th, but up front, it is Ernie Holmes on the outside trying to take over the top spot from pole sitter Jeff Plunkett. Holmes dirt tracks it out of the turn. Now he tries to cut down a little bit. Plunkett not giving an inch to the 79 machine, however. This time Holmes got the momentum coming out of 2. He'll shut the door on the former leader and take over the top spot. But he opens it right back up, and Jeff Plunkett says, thank you very much, and takes the top spot back. It is Plunkett Holmes side by side. Behind him, Miller, LePan, Ebersol, Bushy, and then the 08 of Sorrell. They haven't changed much from the initial start. Now Sparky LePan sets to the outside. He's moved into 3rd, working for 2nd. The Hanson Starter Shop 07 of Plunkett started first, hoping to finish there. He got past, but not for very long as he took the lead back from Holmes. And right now, nobody challenging Jeff for that top spot. All the cars go to single file as they get the halfway marker. Ernie Holmes thinking about going to the outside, but as he opens the door, Sparky LePan comes right to the inside. Holmes crowds the 75 a bit. Sparky fighting back, takes the inside on Ernie. And as these two do battle side by side for 2nd, Jeff tries to pull away with the 07. Sparky LePan may have a quicker car, but he has no racing room right now. He can't go any further forwards because the leader's there, and he can't turn to the right because Holmes filled the gap. Gives the leader a little shot in the back end, hoping to break him loose. Jeff does not quite go the way Sparky wanted him to as he gets 2 to go. Now Sparky works to the outside. Well, let's see if Sparky has the quicker car that I thought he might. Sets it real wide out of 2. Didn't have an opportunity that time. Sparky looks to the inside. Plunkett shuts the door on the low groove. White flag falls for Plunkett. He is trying to lead them all in the first heat of the night. Again, LePan goes wide. He'll lose 2nd, and he's going to lose more than that as he turns it sideways. He had a good finish lined up, but he's going to be dead last now. And leading them all to pick up the first checker of the night, the Hanson Starter Shop sponsored 07 of Plunkett. Ernie Holmes will be 2nd, followed by Brian Bushy, Toby Ebersol, Moon Miller, Kevin Sorrell, and the unfortunate Sparky LePan. And Rob, Sparky had a good idea going to the high side, but he went a little too high, and he went from 2nd to dead last on that last lap.
Steve Hayes, Sparky LePan seemed to have the fastest car on the track in that heat. However, he kept trying to make the pass on Jeff Plunkett coming out of turn 2, and he just could not make the car stick on the outside. And he actually tried to pass a lap before as well, and though he didn't go off the track as he did on the white flag lap, he just about did. So he wasn't able to hold it coming out of turn 2, and Jeff Plunkett did a good job keeping the car down on the inside for the win.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Plunkett did everything right. He started first, finished first, but he finished first because he didn't let the guys behind him bother him. And that Marty's Carpet sponsored 07 machine picks up the checker. And tell you what, he'll start pretty forward up in the main event, but it might be a little tough for Jeff to get the job done with the extra distance tonight.
number 2 for the Flying Tigers on the Speedway. Got 10 cars in this second heat. Steve Hayes, again, 8 laps the distance. Winner of heat number 1 was Jeff Plunkett. Who's it going to be in this one?
Well, I'll tell you what, the guy starting on pole is anxious to prove that it was no fluke his victory last week. The 53 Gary Wood will be sitting on the inside of row 1, but rookie Chris Fisher sits to his right, and Fisher is capable of pulling off the win here. Row 2, Russell Johnson, Wild Bill Sawyer. In row 3, Bob Woods, Mike Bushy. Row 4 occupied by Brad Duquette and Steve Benoit. Steve's been absent for a few weeks. Fifth and final row, George May with a 16 and Bernie Rion with a 73. Gary Wood gets in front. Riom loses the back end. He was running shotgun, didn't affect anyone else. A lot of jostling up in turn 3. Bob Woods and Bill Sawyer came together, but they straightened it out. It is Gary Wood. Russell Johnson up to second. Russell Johnson from Jericho, Vermont hasn't shown a whole lot this year when he's been here, but looks like he's got the race set up right now. Sawyer runs third, followed by Mike Bushy, and a good battle for fifth between Duquette and outside pole sitter Fisher. Pair of black cars up front trying to pull away a bit. Gary Wood and Russell Johnson. Steve Benoit ducked the left tires off the wheel and won. Kicked up a bunch of dirt, and coming out of four, Bernie Riom all over the place. Hits the wet grass. We had a rain shower a couple of hours ago. Track's dry, but you get in that grass, you're in a slide for life. And another problem, and Rob will catch us up in turn 3. Big name Mike Bushy with a 49 is stopped, and that could be a surprise, Rob, as Mike Bushy had one of the stronger cars in this field, but it looks like he has come to a stop up in 3.
There you see the dirt on the inside of turn 1. Steve Benoit making his first appearance in Airborne in quite a while, trying to cut it hard into turn 1, and he went down into the grass throwing, as Steve said, some dirt up onto the track. Steve mentioned that we did have a pretty heavy thunder shower about 3 hours before the races began, and the infield is pretty soft, and that should be a problem tonight, at least cars getting off on the inside throwing dirt up onto the track. But you're right, Mike Bushy parked on the backstretch, and whenever he's here and running well, he's a top contender, Steve Hayes.
Well, anyone who wins a Triple Crown's a top contender, and he has done that. Looks like he's looking at under the front end of the automobile. May have broke something, but they have a lot of time to fix that car, and I imagine he will make the main event. Two laps complete in this second Flying Tiger heat. Mike Bushy has been towed back to the pit area. Steve Hayes, here we go, second heat. All season long in the Winston Cup Racing Division, they say the black cars are doing it all. Well, they're doing it all in this qualifier. Gary Wood, Russell Johnson start him on the way from the front row. Row 2, Bill Sawyer, Brad Duquette. Row 3, Chris Fisher, Bob Woods. Last row, Steve Benoit and George May. Russell Johnson on the outside. He's missed a few weeks, and the weeks he has been here, he has not been the strongest car around. But oh boy, things have changed. That 28 machine sticks his nose in front of Gary Wood. Problem is he's out of the outside groove, and Gary will take the lead right back. Russell Johnson not about to give up the chase, however. Behind him, Sawyer Duquette side by side. Brad is thinking about splitting a couple of cars. Thought wisely against it at that point. Don't count against Brad trying it, though. If the door opens, Brad will be there. Halfway this time by for Gary Wood, who's pulled out by about 6 car lengths over Johnson, Sawyer, and Duquette. Fifth is Bob Woods, followed by Steve Benoit, Chris Fisher, George May. One surprise here, Chris Fisher on the outside pole is fading, and did not think he'd be that far back. Battle for second through fourth is a good one. Sawyer, Johnson, and Duquette. Gary pulls away even further from that battle. Brad Duquette is thinking about the inside-out move here. Lose a little back-end traction. Looks like Bill Sawyer is leaking something. I don't think it's tire smoke. The back of the car, I'll tell you why, where that's coming out, quite possibly could be gas. Oh, he's leaking a ton. And it is gas. It's pouring out of the back of the 39. Everybody try to avoid the black strip that's being laid down by the 39. That's why Duca hit the binders. Couldn't figure out why he faded, Rob, because he was right in that gas and knew that if he continued his momentum, he was going to turn it around. And let's remember, Sawyer has no idea he's leaking gas.
Well, everyone in the stand does, Steve Hayes, because you can smell it. And that was quite a serious leak. This is going to be a lengthy repair.
Tell you what.
And you have to, when you work on that, you have to be real careful. You don't want to certainly ignite anything over there when that's dangerous work.
I was going to say not only that, but an expensive little ordeal there. Racing fuel here is not cheap, and he lost a bunch of it just now.
All right, so this will be a lengthy delay. I'm sure they'll have to put Speedy Dry around the speedway and then work that in. So we have another caution in this second Flying Tiger heat with 5 laps complete. We'll come back with a 3-lap finish. Stay with us. You're watching Motorsports Magazine from Airborne. All right, we're set for a restart in this second Flying Tiger heat. Quick repairs to the 39 car, Steve Hayes.
Very quick repairs. He's back out to start it again with 5 down. We did lose the blue and white 57 to Bob Woods, however. Bob unable to keep up to the field under caution, pitted the machine. Front row once again, Gary Wood and Russell Johnson has set them on their way. A little Speedy Dry in the racing groove, and some of these guys found it was a little slicker than they thought. Bob Woods coming back out with the 57, but no chance of winning this one now. Gary Wood is your leader. In the first qualifier, Jeff Plunkett went green to checker from the pole. Gary Wood trying to do the same here. Battle for second, 3 wide coming out of 2. Steve Benoit, Brad Duquette now behind Johnson. Johnson with a good shot coming out of 2. Got in front. Trouble in 3. Steve Benoit turns it sideways. White flag comes out. Benoit refires the 04. No caution. Your top 3s, they take the white. Gary Wood, Russell Johnson, and Brad Duquette. And none of them are contending for a position at this point. So, what do Jeff Plunkett and Gary Wood have in common tonight? They both started on pole and led green to checker. Second in this one to Russell Johnson. Third to Brad Duquette, followed by Bill Sawyer and Chris Fisher. And guess what? Bill Sawyer is leaking gas again.
So a good win for Gary Wood in heat number 2 of the Flying Tigers, and I'm sure that team is anxious to prove that they can get right back out there in the Flying Tiger feature and have another strong run this evening.
No doubt about it. They have 30 laps tonight in their double-point mid-season championship, and that is one car who, those 10 extra laps should not hurt a whole lot. Gary Wood in the 53 machine, carry the first checker. He hopes to carry this same checker flag in about 2 hours when the main event's done.
The third Flying Tiger heat on the Speedway. This is a high handicap heat for the Flying Tigers. Steve Hayes, some real hot runners on the track right now.
Yeah, 9 of them to be exact. Front row, Jimmy Young, Mark Eddy. Row 2, Mark Barney with the 0 and a brand new color scheme for Mark Lamberton's 29. An orange front end. Yeah, it won't be difficult to see that car. Row 3, the 74 of Danny Benoit, the 12 of Dave Foster. Fourth row, the 8 of Jason Leo, the 77 of Eric Williams. I said 9 cars. Eldred Hutchins pits the 37 machine. Eldred, third in points, definitely wants to get as many points as he can tonight, and this is not what he needed to happen. Mark Eddy out of Champlain, New York. We mentioned him in the opener, 5th in points. Kind of snuck up there when no one was watching. Takes a lead out of 2, but hang on fast. Barnier down low. He hits the brake. Dan Benoit could not avoid the back end. And when it's all said and done, it comes out Eddie Lamberton running 1-2 with Jimmy Young right behind him. Tough break for Hutchins, as we said, but he'll be back. You can bet on it. Mark Eddy, your leader. Mark Lamberton running 2nd. Mark Barnier running 3rd. The Marks are doing well. One car not doing well, Jason Leo, 2nd in points. He's at the back of the pack, and Jason doesn't seem to have the traction he wants in that 8 car. A little loose in the turns. Battle for second, side by side, Lamberton and Barnier. Meanwhile, Foster spins off of 4 the high side. Foster refires, no caution. And the battle for the lead continues between Mark, and Mark. Barnier look to the outside, coming out of 4, half down, half to go. Mark Eddy looks over his right shoulder, sees the yellow 0 of Barnier right alongside him. They drag strippers. Eddy takes Barnier a bit high out of 2. Lamberton has fallen back about 7 car lengths, and the rest of the pack is reeling in that 29 machine. Terrific side-by-side battle between Eddy and Barnier. 5 down, 3 to go. Barnier sticks his nose in front, coming out of 2. Eddy with a preferred inside groove, not ready to give up the top spot. Barnier cuts in front. Can he turn down in front of the 51? He hasn't done so yet. Comes out of 4, 2 to go. Now he makes the sweep in front. Barnier clearly in front of Eddy. Meanwhile, Lamberton has been caught by the likes of Benoit, Williams, and Leo for an ill-handling race car. Jason Leo doing pretty well with that 8 machine. Benoit Williams comes together out of 4. They have a little bump. We are on the last lap. Mark Barnier is hoping to pick up the checker. Eddy has fallen back by about 4 car lengths, is not challenging Barnier for the top spot. And as he comes out of 4, yet again, a checkered flag falls on the 0 Mark Barnier. Second to Eddy, third to Lamberton, followed by Williams, Leo, Benoit, Young, and Dave Foster. Well, Rob, our first 2 qualified victories went to pole sitters, Jeff Plunkett and Gary Wood. That was not the case here, as Mark Barnier started out of the front row altogether, got in front of Eddy, who started outside pole, picked up the win, and he looked strong that he could definitely be a major contender a little bit later in the 30-lap main event.
No question about it, Steve Hayes. Mark Barnier, last couple of weeks, has run at the Riverside Speedway in Groveton, New Hampshire. Last week he was victorious at that small 1/3 mile oval plant. And while Barnier's running around the track, we want to take a look into the pits as we see Steve Renadette and his trailer, car 76, leaving the pit area. And we knew, Steve Hayes, that team did have engine problems, and we'll have to see what's going on with the 76 team.
Well, during the practice rounds, while we were doing the interviews in between, both the first and second guys in the late model points, Whitcomb and Renadette, broke in the engine department. Whitcomb made the repairs. Renadette, he knew his night was done. Now, he was shopping for a ride. We won't say who, but there is a guy who bought 2 cars tonight.
But back to Mark Barnier, you know, every time he's been here, he's been a top runner, and if not for some bad finishes, in Barnier's case, he's a lot like Dave Kingman. He either hits a home run or strikes out. He usually wins or he breaks.
You have a point. He could have won about 3 or 4 more of these things because he was leading with 1-2 laps to go and then was not to be. Right now, late model take over the speedway. Rob will have the call in the first qualifier of the night for these guys.
All right, the first late model Sportsman heat is on the speedway. Gordon Adams and Galen Wood in row 1. Row 2, it's Tony Poisson and Norm Gay in the 50. Then it's Robin Wood and Glenn Wright, Rod Weed and Danny Bridges, Bucko Branham, and the 19, that is David Gay, and then the 33 of Ed Lockerbie. 2 heats for the late model Sportsman. Green is out. Galen Wood with a good start on the outside, gets to the front spot. Battle for second between Gordon Adams in the 55 and Norm Gay in the 50. Adams drifts high out of turn 3, a little bit loose coming down the front stretch. There's Glenn Wright, car 48. He currently runs 4th. The leader, Galen Wood in the 79. Gordon Adams 2nd. Norm Gay is 3rd. Glenn Wright runs 4th. Tony Poisson is 5th. Robin Wood 6th. Battle for 7th right now between Danny Bridges and Bucko Branham. Branham looks to the outside of Bridges. And Bridges is able to hold them off as they head down the backstretch. So Branham is running 8th, 9th is Rod Weed, and 10th is Ed Lockerbie. Probably see in the background as Norm Gay is loose, coming out of 2. You can probably see out of the background in the 76 collar of Steve Renadette leaving the pit area. Norm Gay loose again as he is off the pace out of turn 4. And he loses about 6 spots. Danny Bridges loose out of 2. Look out. Bridges spins and he's heading the wrong direction out of turn 2. And the caution is going to come out as he is parked in turn 2. And Steve Hayes double points on the line this evening. And we just mentioned that Steve Renadette was headed out of the pit area. That could really shake up the point standings.
Oh, no doubt about it. Coming in, he was second to Dave Wickham and not too far ahead of third place points guy Brent Dragon. So Steve, this is certainly not the night he needed to break and not make the main event.
All right, we have 4 laps complete in this first late model Sportsman heat. Stay with us. You're watching Motorsports Magazine from Airborne. They'll run one more lap under caution. Steve Hayes, that gives us a chance to talk about this field of cars. Big race coming up tomorrow for a lot of these late model sportsmen as many of them will head to Thunder Road where they run the 5th in the Central Region Series, 5th of 6 races.
Yeah, and that's a situation where I know there are double points in it, but if you do smash your car up, got to work all night to fix it. You cannot afford to miss one of those 6 races. And that might be why Renadette left early.
All right, here's the lineup. Galen Wood, Gordon Adams. Row 2 is Glenn Wright and Tony Poisson. Row 3, Bucko Branham and Robin Wood. Then it's Norm Gay in the 50 and Rod Weed in the 6. David Gay in car 19. And shotgun to the field is Danny Bridges in the 9. 4 laps complete. Here comes the field. Out of 4, the green is out. Good start for Galen Wood. Glenn Wright moves underneath Adams for the 2nd spot as they are side by side coming out of turn 2 down the backstretch. Wright's slight advantage as they head into turn 3. Adams tries to fight back on the outside, but I think he's going to lose traction. Indeed. Bucko Branham moves underneath for 3rd. Adams stuck on the outside. Better try to get that car down or he's going to keep losing spots as Norm Gay moves underneath for 4th. Now it is Galen Wood, then Glenn Wright, then Bucko Branham. 4th is Norm Gay and Adams cuts it down to the 5th spot. David Gay runs 6th, 7th is Danny Bridges, Tony Poisson 8th, 9th is Robin Wood, and 10th on the field is Rod Weed. The car length back to Glenn Wright, then another car length back to Bucko Branham. Branham looks to the outside of Glenn Wright, thinking about taking over the 2nd position. Now he looks to the inside of Wright down the front stretch. No room. And again, it looks like Bucko Branham wants to think about the outside. Branham currently running 3rd, working over the rear end of 48 and Glenn Wright. Branham trying to get it done to take over the 2nd spot. He's looked outside, he's looked inside. Trying to find racing room to get around Glenn Wright. White flag is out. The white flag is on the field. Galen Wood leads it. Glenn Wright, room down the backstretch for Bucko Branham on the inside. And Branham sticks his nose inside to take over 2nd. They come down to the checkered flag. It's Galen Wood. Branham is 2nd. 3rd is Glenn Wright. 4th, Norm Gay. And 5th, Gordon Adams. And in that instance, Steve Hayes, patience pays off for Bucko Branham as he looked high, he looked low, and eventually a bobble by Glenn Wright on the last lap allowed Bucko to move into the second spot.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you what, Galen Wood's best friend that race was Glenn Wright, because Glenn gave Bucko all he could handle. Bucko never got around Glenn Wright's machine until the last turn of the last lap, and of course, by that time, did not have any opportunity to mount a challenge for the lead, so Galen picked up the win.
All right, there's the winner of the first late model Sportsman heat. It's car 79, and it is Morrisonville's Galen Wood. Stay with us, more racing action coming up on Motorsports Magazine. Second heat for the late model Sportsman on the Speedway. It's Ron Lamel and Lonnie Lackalade in row 1. Row 2, Joe Thomas and Billy Fountain. And it's row 3, Peter Fecto and Ron Weston. Brent Dragon and Dave Whitcomb are in the 5th and final row, and skip the 4th row where Doug Hoare and Scott Carpenter are located. Noticeably absent, the 76 of Steve Renadette. Renadette with engine problems. Tried to hop a ride with Billy Fountain's other backup car, but I think Fountain experienced problems with his 91. Green is out. Good jump for Ron Lamel on the inside lookout. Contact going into 2. Joe Thomas, Billy Fountain, Ron Weston, all three involved, and that will definitely bring out a caution as Weston heads to the pits. Caution flies. Billy Fountain parked up in turn 2. Steve, it really didn't look like a clean start, as it appeared as though Lonnie Lackalade didn't get things going right away in car 17.
Well, I agree. It looked like maybe he bottled up that roll a little bit, and that definitely caused tight quarters up in 2. No real fault that I saw going in the turn. It looked like Thomas and Fountain simply tapped each other, but they were so close that they had no chance of correcting it. Weston got a piece of the back end of Billy, and Ron is the only one who pitted the car, so he looks like the unfortunate victim of it all.
No, Bill Fountain's going to have to head to the pits. He has a left rear tire that is flat on the car, so he will have to head to the pits and change that left rear tire. But I'm sure the crew will go over the 91 and make sure that it is safe for Billy to get back out here in this second heat.
No doubt about it. Billy has quite a few guys who work on his crew. It won't take long to change that tire.
All right, so they will post a restart lineup. Fountain heads pit side. We'll take a break. You're watching Motorsports Magazine from Airborne. Okay, we're set for a restart. No laps completed, so it's a complete restart. Billy Fountain rejoins on the backstretch. He's going to have to hustle to get around as the pace car slows the field down. And for Billy, it doesn't look very good. He's going to be about a half track behind. The rest of the field, meanwhile, well put together. They come out of turn 4, paced by Ron Lamel and Lonnie Lackalade. Green is out. Lackalade is loose. Bold move by Scott Carpenter as he looks to the outside. Look out! Steve Hayes, we got a full moon or what?
Well, you know the problem there, Rob, we mentioned the grass. It is so wet. He hit that grass and brakes made no difference. He was gone. Well, he is very lucky he didn't clobber the Coors Light scoreboard.
Absolutely correct. Carpenter goes right out into the woods. And again, a problem with Lonnie Lackalade. As Lackalade just absolutely no speed coming out of turn 4. Cars were in his rear end. He almost went right in front of the field, sideways in front of the field on the restart. And then down the backstretch again, he was sideways out of turn 2, and he made contact with Scott Carpenter.
It looked like he overcorrected the first problem, and that's what caused the second problem that Carpenter made the payment for. But I'll tell you, if you're not familiar with the way that scoreboard is set up, right directly in front of it, there are a series of tires stacked about 4, 5, 6 high. That's to prevent you from flying into it. Scott was on the side of it. Had he been a little farther to the left, he'd have missed the tires and clobbered the pole. He did not come too far from perhaps doing serious damage at 36. And we don't know if he did. There's some trees that moved. He may have taken down a tree and smashed the front end of the car up.
Okay. We'll see the result of this. Hopefully, Carpenter was a hard runner here at Airborne, and who sits third? Steve Hayes. I know he's in the top 5.
I know he's not third because that's Brent Dragon. So let me take a look here.
I believe he's in the top 5. Of course, he is our defending track champion.
Actually, Scott Carpenter is 4th. He is a total of 51 points behind Dave Wickham's lead, so he cannot afford to have anything happen that the bad side to him tonight.
All right, as the safety crews fish out Scott Carpenter from the woods, we'll take a break. You're watching Motorsports Magazine from Airborne. All right, we're set to restart this second late model Sportsman Heat. It is the second restart, still no laps completed. Scott Carpenter is back. He is shotgun on the field after they extricated him from the woods. None the worse for wear. And it is Ron Lamel and Lonnie Lacalade on the front row. Problems to this point on the restarts for Lacalade. He has been the center of contact, I guess you could say. Let's see this time. Big lead for Ron Lamel down the front stretch. Second is Joe Thomas. Third is Doug Hoare in the 46. Brian Hoare is not here this evening. Doug Hoare driving car 46. Billy Fountain with a move to the inside of Lonnie Lacalade. So it's Joe Thomas. Doug Hoare now looking to the outside for second. Dave Whitcomb runs fourth. Whitcomb, the point leader, with a good finish this evening, can really extend the point lead over Steve Rennet. He can just about move Rennet down 3 or 4 spots. Doug Hoare loose off of turn 4. See the back of the pack. There's Carpenter in the 36. He's running at the rear of the field as he finally moves underneath Peter Fecto. Up to second, Joe Thomas. Running third, Dave Whitcomb to the outside. It is still Doug Hoare. Hoare loose on the outside. Tries to fight his way back now into turn 2 and down the backstretch. Billy Fountain looks to move underneath Doug Hoare. Hoare drives the car hard into turn 3. He's going to be loose again off of 4. And he's going to lose a couple of spots because of it. Brent Dragon and Bill Fountain move underneath. Billy Fountain and Dave Whitcomb battling for the third spot. Brent Dragon looks to the outside of Fountain for fourth. It's been a good heat for positions 2 through 6. But up at the front, it's been Ron Lamel. Contact again, Lonnie Lacalade with Scott Carpenter. Don't invite Lacalade and Carpenter to a tea party anytime soon. And the 11 is shut down. Believe the 11 broke the rear end. He went by down the front stretch. And Steve Hayes, you could hear something make contact with the pavement. So the leader is now Joe Thomas. Second is Dave Whitcomb. Battle for third. I'm telling you, these guys are into each other tonight. They are really duking it out in this second heat. Here's Ron Lamel heading down the front stretch. The yellow is out. Steve Hayes for Lamel. I gotta believe that the rear end broke in that car 11.
Oh, I know it. As a matter of fact, when it broke, I was watching them. Parts flew all over the place. There are parts all over the front stretch. Big part, as a matter of fact, just past the start-finish line. And I think one part actually flew over the fence, came very close to hitting the fan in the stands. It just exploded.
This has been a heck of a heat. There's been a great battle for spots 2 through 6. Lamel was checking out on the field. He had a huge lead. But these guys have been exchanging sheet metal this evening.
Well, this really hurts us for later because we have a 40-lap main event, and we've lost apparently a couple of cars already. We didn't have a whole lot to sign in the pit, so we're going to have a very short field for that 40-lap main event later.
All right, there's 2 to go, 8 complete in this second late model Sportsman heat. Joe Thomas leads it. Dave Whitcomb is second. Third is Doug Hoare. Fourth on the outside, it's Billy Fountain. Brent Dragon runs 5th. 6th is Peter Fecto. 7th is Ron Weston. 8th, Scott Carpenter. And 9th, Lonnie Lacklade. I'll tell you, Scott Carpenter will be glad when he is away from Lonnie Lacklade. Not been a great heat for those two. All right, 2-lap sprint for this second late model Sportsman heat. Cars come out of turn 4, the green is out, they're side by side. Good start for Dave Whitcomb on the outside. They're side by side, out of 2, down the backstretch, Thomas on the inside. On the outside it is Whitcomb. Doug Hoare looks to stick his nose into this battle for first. Out of turn 4, still side by side, the white flag flies. This is going to be a good finish. Again, side by side out of 2. Thomas sticks his nose in front down the backstretch. Whitcomb battles back on the outside. Doug Hoare runs third. He'll look to capitalize on any mistake. They come out of turn 4. Drag race to the stripe, and it's Joe Thomas. Second, Dave Whitcomb. Third, Doug Hoare. Fourth to the 91 of Billy Fountain. And fifth, I believe it is Peter Fecto in the 75, but that's a great finish, Steve Hayes.
A terrific ending to a very strange qualifier that had Carpenter pushing up the daisies practically off the backstretch, and Lamel with a huge lead explode the rear end. And Joe Thomas, who has not carried a whole lot of checkers lately, will carry this qualifying victory checkered as he narrowly defeated points leader Dave Whitcomb and the 46 machine of Doug Hoare to the stripe.
All right, stay with us, fans. Coming up on Motorsports Magazine, we will have a street stock heat. That's next. You're watching Motorsports Magazine from Airborne. Street stocks take to the Speedway the first time this evening. This is their first heat. 6 laps the distance, and here is Steve Hayes.
12 automobiles, an even dozen set to do battle. The 75 of Chuck Farnsworth, the 45 of Lloyd Mortis in the front row. In row 2, the 30 Matt Tracy, 11 of Jim Varno. Row 3 occupied by the 72 of Curtis LaGrave and the 39 of Sonny Reeves. Then the 01 Keith Nolan, the 71 of Tony Broussard. The 07 don't have a driver listed, but it was Scott Wilson last time the car was out. I believe he's in the 07. We'll check on it. They go on their merry way with Farnsworth, Mortis side by side of the stripe. Look at Varno with the 11, thinking of splitting the leaders. Almost split himself right out of it as he had to back off. Here comes LaGrave going 3 wide. Nolan as they go into 3, almost making a 4 wide. Tracy cutting the 01 of Nolan off. The back of the pack, we have the Fang car, which returns this week. That one, the RC says sponsored, one Fang car tonight, driven by Kevin Trabalia, Moores, New York. So a spectator getting a chance to show what he can do inside one of these racing automobiles tonight. Farnsworth, your leader. About 3-4 weeks ago, he picked up a win, and everything has went sour since then. Hopes to turn things back around to the good side. Mortis runs second. Varno third, LaGrave fourth, Reeves fifth, followed by Matt Tracy, and then the 01 of Keith Nolan. LaGrave is up to third with a black 72. He has made the most of anything so far in this qualifier. Of course, Farnsworth started up front. I don't know what Matt Tracy was doing with the 30. Kind of got out of shape. Now he refires it all, and he takes the side of the 07. And again, he turns a 30. Beautiful paint job on the 30. But if he keeps coming in contact, it won't be too beautiful for too long. 07 is going, hey, I moved out of the way. Out of 4, LaGrave to the inside of Mortis, a battle for second. Meanwhile, Farnsworth gets a 2 lap to go sign with half a stretch lead. Fourth is Varno, fifth Nolan, followed by Tony Broussard and Sonny Reeves. Battle for second heating up. LaGrave to the outside. Hasn't quite caught up to the 45 of Mortis yet, though. Now he gets to the inside of the 45 and takes over the second spot. Mortis quickly dives to the inside group. Last lap. We are in the midst of it. Farnsworth, a big lead that shrunk a little, but I have to imagine Charles Farnsworth saw the big lead and let up a little bit. Knew that he just basically had to finish this one. Although he better look at his mirror. LaGrave is catching him. He won't catch him enough, though. He gets into it out of 4 to win it. Farnsworth, your winner. Kurt LaGrave second, followed by Mortis. Close for fourth between Nolan and Vardo. Give it to the Owen to Nolan. Jim Vardo will be fifth, and Tony Broussard with the rest, 71-6. Well, Farnsworth started pole, Rob. Really no competition for him there. He pulled away, and everyone else was battling. He pulled away from him and won. Story, though, the 30 of Matt Tracy doing some pirouettes out there. I don't know what he was doing, but it looked exciting.
How'd the fan car do?
Not the greatest, but in all honesty, I mean, yeah, I was going to say, you know, the guy came here, didn't know he was going to race. You know, give him a break. He's got a big 20-lap main event on tap a little later. Farnsworth picks up the victory with LaGrave second, and he was definitely the quickest car that I saw in that qualifier. He may be a car to watch. One more qualifier is next on MSM.
Heat number 2 for the street stocks on the Speedway. Good field of cars in this one again to go 6 laps in this second street stock heat. Steve Hayes.
Andrew Carey, Corey Trombley, row 1. You know, the look-alike late model of that 66 won a little earlier. Let's see if Corey can duplicate it with the street stock. Row 2 with Dave Perrin and Leo Dugan. Row 3, Roe Lane and Ralph Doss Jr. They are the top 6. One car absent from the field is 77 of Rick Frenier. Some problems after the race last week. All we'll say is the last that we heard, a 2-week suspension and a $100 fine. By the time this show is aired, I'm sure the actual penalty, whatever it is, and that probably is what it is, will be known. Of course, missing this race is penalty, and that's trouble in 2. The 78 comes together with the 91 of Fountain. Looks like they've hooked some bumpers up there. Now they separate. No caution, and IDL Sean's going to refire. Caution may come out for the box 78. Now he's moving. No caution. Boy, is Sean found at a big disadvantage. 78 goes to the pits, and Sean is 3/4 of a lap down. He needs a caution now. Corey Trombley is your leader. Andrew Carey runs second, followed by Ralph Doss Jr., Leo Duggan, and Terry Gwinnett. Up to 6th is second place pointsman Dane Gibbs, and right behind him is the 29 of Brian Pugh. Trombley pulls away a bit from the pack. Carey runs second. Good up at the back end of Duggan when Leo kind of slid in front of the 60. 3 wide going into 3. Duggan backs off, has the inside groove. Andrew Carey a bit loose, and a lot of guys are worried as they have to hit the binders. Trombley almost a complete front stretch lead. He doesn't want a caution, and Sean Fountain is begging for a caution. They both can't get their way. The white 81 out there, the only 81 I've seen here this year is Bob Wells, but he had a black and red automobile. May have a new car. We'll have to check. I can't tell you one car that's not doing too well right now. Started inside the second row, I believe, the 37 of Dave Parent. And now Ralph Jr. is falling back, and I thought those two guys would be up a little farther. Doug in trouble in the 2, takes a high off of turn 2. Looks like he'll just pit the automobile. He was running third, he is no longer. Guess who is third? The points leader, Brian Pugh. White flag. Corey Trombley, a straightaway lead over Dane Gibbs, Brian Pugh, and Kerry Gwinnett. 5th by some distance, the 99 of Andrew Carey. Corey Trombley saw the Joe Thomas 66 win the qualifier, and now he duplicates it in the street stock 66. So Tracy Trombley Construction has a couple of qualifying victories tonight. Corey wins this one over Dane Gibbs, Brian Pugh, Terry Goodham, and Andrew Carey. And going back to the late models as well as his street stock, Rob, we have not seen Corey Trombley or Joe Thomas have a lot of success, but so far their nights are perfect.
Well, you called that one Steve Hayes, but I do believe in both divisions. Aren't both cars running in the top 10 in points on the year? I'm not sure of that, but I think both are.
I'll tell you though, they both have had good runs. They just don't seem to get all the luck in the world, and that is the main reason why they haven't carried a lot of checkers like Corey is right now. In the late model division, the 66 of Joe Thomas came in 7th in points. He was about 132 out of the lead, so he could definitely use a victory tonight, that is for sure. And in the street stock division, the 66 of Corey Trombley, 7th in that division. Corey, however, was about 271 points out of the lead, and that can't be right. Now, let's make that about 171. I didn't think he was that far back.
Yeah, you're not very good at math, Hayes.
Hey, it was a quick addition. Give me a break. I corrected it, didn't I?
Subtraction.
Hey, give Corey a couple of more points here. He picked up a victory. And, of course, as Joe and the lay models, they hope to carry their checker just a little later in Motorsports Magazine at the end of their respective main events.
All right, stay with us. The Flying Tiger semi-feature coming up next on Motorsports Magazine. 10 laps the distance for 9 cars in this Flying Tiger semi-feature, and here is Steve Hayes.
Plunkett Holmes, row 1. Brian Bushy, Gary Wood, row 2. Bill Sawyer, Brad Duquette, row 3. Mark Eddy, Mark Barnier, row 4. All alone in the 5th row, the 29 of Lamberton. Let's remember, Lamberton 4th in points coming in. The guys 1st, 2nd, and 3rd did not make the semi. That will help Mark out a bunch. Heat winners earlier, the 07 of Plunkett, the 0 Barnier, and the 53 of Gary Wood. Those are the only 3 able to go for the Triple Crown, and one of them, Barnier, had completed that this year. Speaking of Barnier, he is 3 wide and may not like it as they come out of 4. He's going to be very close to the concrete in a 4 wide position. Makes the move for 3rd. Can he hold it? Cuts in front of Holmes. He gets turned sideways, straightened out by Bushy. Holmes in trouble. Mark Barnier continues. All the luck for Mark Barnier is good tonight. Gary Wood and Jeff Plunkett, they won their qualifiers. They run 1-2. We've seen Gary do this lately. Mark Lamberton knows that this is a golden opportunity to make up some points, but he is 6th right now, and Mark certainly capable of finishing 1st in this one. Jed needs a little race room. No one's going to finish 1st unless Gary Wood slows up, though, or there's a caution. Gary is pulling away. Gary at least 10 or 11 car lengths in front of Plunkett, followed by Barnier, Sawyer, Eddy, Lamberton, Bushy, Duquette, and Ernie Holmes. Side by side out of 4th, Bolivar 2nd, Barnier to the outside, and takes it. Plunkett in trouble. The 07 of Plunkett is very slow. Everybody having to pass him on the right, and Plunkett is, I'm afraid, out of it, fans. Now he refires the car, but, well, he stalled it again. Out of 4. Gary Wood has had that lead shrunken a bit by Mark Barnier. 3rd is Sawyer, followed by Lamberton and Eddy. Eddy now making a move on Lamberton. Remember, Mark Eddy 5th in points. He wants to make up on those 3 top point guys. Mark Barnier is only about a half a dozen car lengths behind Gary Wood. Gary has about 5 more laps, so Barnier is going to have an opportunity. One of these 2 guys, should they win, will be 2/3 away to a Triple Crown. Barnier high out of the backstretch, and now catches up to the back bumper, half a car length the distance as they come out of 4. Gary Wood to the inside. Mark Barnier smokes the left front as he nails the binders going into 1. About a car length down the backstretch. These 2 have pulled away by almost a complete backstretch from 3rd place Mark Lamberton. 4th Eddy, 5th Sawyer. Barnier sliding it to the outside with 2 to go. 2 stories here. Mark Barnier, 4th to go to the outside, is having trouble coming out of the turns. He's taking it wide. And Gary Wood is definitely quite quick, and almost as quick as, maybe as quick as Barnier, but he's got the inside group. Barnier leans a bit with 1 to go. I can tell you what Barnier is planning, folks. He is planning to come out of 4 and try to crowd the 53. He showed his hand last time. Unless he alters those plans, I think Gary's going to look for that move. You bet you, Gary takes him wide, but he loses the back end, and Mark Barnier wins it. Gary had the right idea, forcing the zero high, but he lost the backhand traction. Barnier beats it by about half a car length. Gary Wood second, Lambert in third, Eddie fourth, Sawyer fifth. Gary Wood was from turn 4 to the stripe, from being 2/3 of a Triple Crown. He had not been passed all night long until that last, 100 feet?
And instead, now Mark Barnier is 2/3 of a way to a Triple Crown. And as we talked about after Mark Barnier's Flying Tiger heat, when he shows up and when he has that car together the way he wants it, Barnier can run with anybody. And I think he's going to do that again this evening, Steve Hayes.
Oh, I'll tell you, he is definitely one of the guys, when they add distance onto a main event, you have to watch. 30 laps tonight, but let's remember, in 2 weeks, Rob, we should mention this, 2 weeks, we have got a major show for the Flying Tigers. They will be highlighted an invitational 100-lap main event. That Zero car is probably going to be a pretty good favorite to win it.
There'll be a great field. There will be a great field for that one. But I'll tell you, Barnier, very similar to Williams in that he's won at Thunder Road, he's won here at Airborne,
and won at Riverside.
and he's won at Groveton. So where he shows up, when he shows up, he's a top contender.
I don't think there are any other Tiger drivers except Williams and Barnier to win at those 3 tracks, and anyone who's been to them will tell you they're not the same by any means, so you got to be a pretty good driver to win at all 3. Semi-time for the late models next. Rob will have the call.
Bill McBride pace car leads this late model Sportsman semi-feature field. 12 laps the distance. There are 11 cars in the field. They're paced by Gordon Adams and Galen Wood in row 1. Row 2, it's Norm Gay and Glenn Wright. Bucko Branham in the 63 and Joe Thomas in car 66. They're in row 3. Billy Fountain and Peter Fecto, they sit in row 4. Then it is Doug Hoare and Brent Dragon in row 5. Shotgun is the points leader. Dave Whitcomb in car 25, he'll start 11th. 12 laps the distance in this semi-feature for the late models. Look out, problems on the start. Yellow stays out. Yellow stays out. Glenn Wright has yet to see that. No doubt Bucko Branham had some help with that one, Steve.
Behind him on the starter line was, I believe, the 91 Bill Fountain. Problem is, when I looked, Bucko was sideways, so Billy may have got in the back of him. I'm not sure. Best way to tell is to look at Bucko when he comes out of the turn. He would normally let the flagman know, well, he's got to get in position. He didn't make much of a gesture, but most of these guys, if they had help, make sure that the guy on top of the flag stand's aware of it.
Where is Glenn Wright going? Glenn Wright thinks he's the pace car, Steve Hayes.
I think Glenn Wright figured they were going to wait one more lap. He was waiting for the pack to catch him to fall in line, but they were planning to go green. They're obviously not going to.
All right, Glenn will get in line. Now they're all set. Complete restart. Believe there might have been one problem with the starting order, but I think they're going to throw the green on this semi-feature. Any idea, Steve?
Well, it looked like they were telling Bucko and Joe Thomas to switch positions, but this is how they were lined up for the restart, or I should say the original start.
All right, so we look for the green flag this time out of turn 4. Late model Sportsman semi is underway. 12 laps the distance. Again, there are 11 cars. Look out. Gordon Adams loose. Don't lose it there in front of the whole field. Wow, that would have been costly. 3 wide into turn 3. Again, risky business. Gordon Adams going backwards on the backstretch as he's stuck on the outside. Just about the whole field will pass underneath Adams. The leader, Galen Wood, second is Norm Gay. third. Fourth is Billy Fountain. Fifth is Doug Hoare. Sixth, Joe Thomas. Seventh is Peter Fecto. Eighth is Glenn Wright. Ninth, Dave Whitcomb. 10th, Brent Dragon. 11th is Gordon Adams. Field comes out of turn 4, paced by Galen Wood. Bucko Branham looks for a bobble from the 50 of Norm Gay as Bucko looks to move into the second spot. 3 laps complete, 4 this time by for Galen Wood in the 79. Wood won the first late model Sportsman heat. Billy Fountain a little bit loose off of 4. And Doug Hoare, working the outside groove, tries to get around Fountain, but he loses traction out of 2, and he's going to lose the spot. Tell you what, give Doug Hoare credit because he tries to work that outside groove more than anybody else. Sure, it doesn't help his tire bill, but if he could ever master that outside groove, he would be the car to beat at Airborne. I think whoever can master that outside groove is the car to beat here at Airborne. It's Galen Wood, then Norm Gay, then Bucko Branham. Billy Fountain 4th, Doug Hoare 5th. Joe Thomas runs 6th. 7th is Peter Fecto. Glenn Wright is 8th. Brent Dragon 9th. 10th is Dave Whitcomb. Pass for 4th. It's Doug Hoare to the inside of Billy Fountain. And Doug Hoare takes over the 4th spot in car 46. Now Doug Hoare looks to the outside of Bucko Branham. Hoare high out of turn 4 down the front stretch. And I think he's going to get it done. He's around Branham for 3rd. Now he's about to go around Norm Gay for the 2nd spot. Good job for Doug Hoare, Colchester, Vermont, into the 2nd spot as he now looks to go around the outside of Galen Wood. Nine down, 3 to go for Galen Wood. Hoare looks to the outside. Hoare drifts high in turn 2, loses traction. And Galen Wood's back out in front by a couple of car lengths again. Hoare closes quickly into turn 3. White flag will fly this time by for Galen Wood. 1 to go in the semi-feature. Hoare's going to try the same move this time. Let's see if he sticks out of 2. A little bit better run off of 2 that time. High down the backstretch into turn 3. They're side by side into 3. Hoare is loose into 4. Galen Wood's going to hang on. Wood wins it. 2nd is Doug Hoare. 3rd, the 50 of Norm Gay. Bucko Branham brings it home. 4th, 5th to the 91 of Billy Fountain. Steve Hayes, don't look now, but we got another possible Triple Crown candidate as Galen Wood is 2/3 of the way home.
Well, that would be considered a bit of an upset if Galen could pick out the Triple Crown. I believe the last 3 weeks, though, Galen has won his qualifier. Chief Sergeant Butch Henry shaking his hand as Galen kind of earned this one as the 46 machine of Doug Hoare passed everybody on the outside, had 4 laps to work over the 79. Wasn't quite able to find the right group. Galen 2 for 2 tonight. And he should be starting pretty far up in the field for the 40-lap main event. Now, and we watch that, figures Doug Hoare will be a strong candidate. If he does that in the 40-lap main event, runs that second group, he will eventually burn out those tires. So I think he better change his driving style. That won't work for 40 laps.
You're absolutely right. All right, the crowd appreciative of the efforts of Galen Wood as he gets a well-deserved round of applause. The winner of his heat, and now the late model Sportsman semi-feature. Stay with us, more racing action coming up. This is Motorsports Magazine from Airborne. It's feature time for the Tigers. They're going an extra 10 laps tonight, 30 laps the distance. Here's Steve Hayes.
27 automobiles set to answer the call. Yes, fans. Eldred Hutchins, who has not raced a lap tonight, he pulled in on the pace lap of his qualifier. It's in the field. We'll have to wait and see if the 37 is capable of going to the front, though. Front row, Jeff Plunkett, Ernie Holmes. Row 2, Moon Miller, Brian Bushy. Top 6, Sparky LePan and Toby Ebersol. But remember, there are 21 other automobiles right behind them, and a Triple Crown candidate in the yellow zero, Mark Barnier. Anything from lap 20 to 30 is gravy. It is brand new territory for these guys. Jeff Plunkett from the pole jumps out to the early lead. The move, trouble at 4, and we have Mark Lamberton hard into the concrete. Actually, the concrete does not extend that far over. Lamberton basically head on off of the track. The problem started in between 3 and 4, a car on the inside, bounced up into traffic. They were running 3-4 wide. Mark Lamberton farthest out, had no chance, and we saw Carpenter coming out at 2, hit the grass and slide. Lamberton did the same. On wet grass, it actually speeds you up. Lamberton virtually head-on, Rob, and that one is going to hurt the car a lot.
Steve, I'm not sure if it was a head-on lick from Mark Lamberton. I think he might have gone in sideways. And when you do have those sideways hits on the car, it also takes a big toll on the body. There was a lot of bumper banging going into turn 3, and that continued through turn 4. And the safety crews are quickly over to attend to the 29 car of Mark Lamberton. I believe there's a red flag, and as the field is stopped, Bill Sawyer heads to the pits.
Yeah, there is a red flag. I can see the traffic light up in 1.
Yeah, and for Bill Sawyer heading into the pits, that's got to be a penalty, as you cannot move under red flag conditions.
Well, I believe he would be able to go to the pits, but what you cannot do is work on the car, and he's pitted too far over for us to see.
Well, he was on the track when the red flag flew. You
that's
cannot
true.
move
That's
under red
right.
flag.
You are correct. I wasn't thinking of it that way, but yeah, he could not move unless one of the officials. Again, he was leaking gas in his qualifier. If he's leaking gas, I think they'll let him go to the pits.
All right, the ambulance up to attend to Mark Lamberton, and let's hope the driver of car 29 will be all right, and that car will be, certainly there will be some damage in it, but hopefully nothing too severe for the driver from Morris Forks.
In the semi, I said he looked at it. He knew he was 4th in points coming in. The top 3 points guy did not transfer to the semi. He was feeling great. I don't think he's thinking about that right now, as that car took a hard lick. And as you said, if it was an angle hit, you get one of those whiplash effects. The way the safety equipment is designed with a harness, a side impact really jostles you hard to the left or the right, and you get one of those I'm sore in the morning type injuries. So hopefully he's A-okay, but I guarantee you tomorrow morning he'll be sore.
All right, we'll take a break and have a complete restart when we come back. You're watching Motorsports Magazine from Airborne. Steve, look behind you. Look behind you. Complete restart. Steve Hayes, while you have a chance, how about setting the field for us as best you can?
Plunkett Holmes, row 1. Miller, Brian Bushy, row 2. LePan and Ebersol, row 3. Row 4 is Fisher and Russell Johnson. Top 10 rounded out by Bob Woods and the 49 of Mike Bushy. Right behind him, a couple of cars you may want to watch. The 18 of Duca, the 1 of Young. And some of the top point guys just behind those guys. Only retiree was Lamberton, 29. He got out of the car in his own power. That was the best thing we've heard all night. Up front, Plunkett from the pole once again takes over the top spot. Doesn't take it over. He was there to begin with. Ernie Holmes content with the second group. Has no way to dive low at this point. The Moon Miller, former defending street stock champ, runs 3rd. 4 wide out of 4, and this time everybody behaves himself. And the 0 of Mark Barnier is in the Eric Williams groove. He is currently running 9th, 8th, 7th, going to be 6th. Yeah, that's how quick that 0 car is moving, and we've only put a lap and a half in the books, fans. Foster with a 12, almost tasted the concrete. Meanwhile, up front, just as they were 2 laps ago when we started, Plunkett and Holmes side by side. Behind him is Miller and LePan. A scratch at Miller and Mike Bushy. Bushy from 10th up to 4th. Trouble on the 1 car is Jimmy Young. Mike Nass of the 81 smoking up a storm. Young's engine is retired, it seems. Plunkett is your leader. There will be 4 down this time as he hits the stripe with 26 to go. Where are the points, guys? Williams is running about 15th. Directly behind him is Leo, and directly in front of Williams is Hutchins. These guys are always together. Up front, it is still Plunkett. Battle for second, Miller and Mike Bushy. Bushy was 10th on the start 5 laps ago. He is battling for the top spot. Behind Mike Bushy, the Zero Barnier looking for the elusive Triple Crown. Not too elusive for Barnier. He's already got one this year here at Airborne. 4 cars tucked together for the lead. Inside, Plunkett outside Mike Bushy. And Bushy takes the lead, and Barnier will follow in 3. Meanwhile, the 74 Danny Benoit, very slow at 4, will bring out a caution. And Mike Bushy made a great pass, as did Mark Barnier. Problem is the caution comes out, and Plunkett will be back on the point when we restart it, Rob.
Steve Hayes, a couple of unfortunate breaks for a top runner. First of all, Jimmy Young in the 1 with a flat tire on car number 1. He had to take the car pit side. He's gone down a couple of laps. And now Danny Benoit, car 74, the leading rookie in the Flying Tiger division. He's parked up off of turn 4.
Tough break for Danny, as you said, and obviously the fans don't know it, but as Rob is talking, we start to feel raindrops on top of the tower, and behind us is a mess, so we're hoping the weather doesn't come from that direction. In order to make a race official, you have to go halfway plus 1, which means we would have to go 10 more laps, and if it starts to rain right now, we're definitely not going to do it, Rob.
All right, we'll take a break. 6 complete. You're watching Motorsports Magazine from Airborne. All right, we have 5 complete. Jeff Plunkett is on the pole, but he's got some tough cars to the outside. Steve Hayes.
Plunkett, Mike Bushy will start for the front row. There will be trouble on the restart directly in front of the flag stand, and then going into turn 1 on the high groove. Mike Nass pitting. He just laid down a bunch of fluid, so they're going to have to bring the truck back out, Rob, because that is right in the racing groove.
And Steve Hayes, we haven't talked about it, but although I think you did briefly mention that you had felt a couple of raindrops, but the weather is ominous as there is a bunch of ugly-looking clouds moving this way.
I haven't felt any more rain since we last spoke, but I'll tell you, the clouds are coming in a big way, and it's a massive collection of clouds, to say the least. So if it starts to rain, I don't think it's going to be a quick shower. It looks like a pretty big one coming this way.
All right, they're going to have to tend to the racing surface once again with some speedy dry, and we'll take a break. And hopefully when we come back next time, we will have a restart in this Flying Tiger main event. All right, the track is once again set for competition as they've run in the oil put down by the NASCAR. Steve Hayes, we're all set with 5 laps in the book.
Top 10, Plunkett, Mike Bushy, Miller, Barnier, LePen, Holmes, Brian Bushy, Fisher, Eddie, and Ebersol, but it's that next row. Eldred Hutchins and Eric Williams that I think a lot of people will look at. They're also going to look at that Zero car. Mark Barnier is definitely a even money favorite at this point to win his Triple Crown. He moves a second. The guy he is catching has won a Triple Crown as well. Big time problems at 3, a traffic jam of immense proportions. Eldred Hutchins drives off the track to move Brian Bushy over. He gains a couple of positions. Now Brian Bushy tapping the 82 of Ebersol, but yeah, no problems. Up front it is Mike Bushy and Mark Barnier pulling away now from Plunkett. It is a matter of time before turn 3 and 4 lead to a massive pileup. These guys continue to go 3, sometimes try 4 wide through there, and eventually somebody is not going to hold his line, get out of shape, and we're going to have a mess to clean up. Well, Barnier may be quick, but it don't look like he's as quick as a 49. Mike Bushy is at least staying with him and maybe even inching ahead a little bit from the Zero. Third is Plunkett. Behind him for 4th is Moon Miller and the 51 of Eddie. Eddie came in 5th in points. He still has to make up some ground. Eldred Hutchins currently runs 9th. Leo runs 11th. Eric Williams runs 15th. A complete set of turns separate the top 2 from the field. Mike Bushy and Mark Barney are trying to run away from the pack and settle it between themselves. Mark Eddy has moved to 3rd. Plunkett is 4th. Moon Miller is 5th. A couple of positions behind that. Hutchins has the 8 of Leo on his bumper. Leo has Chris Fisher to worry about. And right now, Eric Williams just is not firing. That car does not seem to have what Eric wants. Talked to him earlier. He said, I wasn't planning on changing my style too much. So unless he's trying to hold back a bit, I don't think that car is nearly as good as Eric wants it to be. One guy having a great night, the 07 of Plunkett. Won his qualifier, lost his semi by half a car length, and currently running 4th in the main event with 12 down now. 4 more and it would technically be official. But I think everybody wants to see the full 30 go in the books. Mike Bushy has about 6 or 7 car lengths on the 0 Barnier, who has at least 15 to 20 on Eddie, who in turn has at least that same 15 to 20 on the 07 of Plunkett. Pack of cars coming out of 2 include Leo, Plunkett, Miller, Hutchins, Williams, LePayne, and Fisher. Jason Leo has moved into 4th. He got by Plunkett. Next to try to pass Plunkett is 37 of Hutchins. Eldred in his qualifier did not do a thing. He pitted on the pace lap, caused it out of the speedway. We have a car turned the wrong way out of the backstretch. I can see blue, but well, it might be the 79 of Ernie Holmes. I take a quick look and don't see Ernie on the track, so I think it's Ernie over there. Okay, then that settles that. And how about Mike Bushy, Mark Barnier? They are pulling away, and really, Mike Bushy's pulling away from the 0.
Well, let's not forget the 49, as he was not spectacular in either his heat nor the semi-features. Matter of fact, in his heat, he was towed into the pit, so we really haven't seen a whole lot of Mike Bushy this evening. But he certainly has something under that hood for the 0 of Mark Barnier, and he is running easily with the 0 of Mark Barnier, unless Barnier's playing possum right now, which I don't think he is.
I don't think so. This, of course, brings the rest of the pack up to those 2 leaders. Mark Eddy running in 3rd, having a fine run, and instead of chasing him, he'll be right on the bumper now, the leaders. Plunkett running 4th. I mentioned he's having a great run. Looks like Moon Miller will be put back in 5th as Leo passed him, but the caution came out. But Jason is having a good run in the 8, racing Jason. And right behind him, Eldred Hutchins, and really Eldred in a car that didn't know how it would react because he didn't have any racing in it.
All right, they're going to restart this race very quickly. 14 complete, Steve.
Well, from what we've seen, you would think it will be decided between the 49 and the 0. But now that they're bunched up, guys like Leo, Hutchins, Williams, who is right behind Hutchins on the restart, they will have an opportunity to stay up with the leaders. So let's just see what the 49 and the 0 really have. Now Leo will be put in the 5th spot. He goes to the inside of the 3rd row, moves the Moonman to the outside. And the 3rd row, or the inside row, rows 3, 4, and 5, Leo, Hutchins, and Williams. Those 3 guys will probably race in tandem to try to get up to the front. Mike Bushy and Mark Barnier, though, are the front, and they run into turn 1 and give each other a bit of a shot. Mark Eddy runs 3rd, and let's not forget the Champlain, New York driver. As he gets to the inside of Barnier, Barnier shuts the door. Jimmy Young comes out of the track right in front of the leaders. He's over 3/4 of a lap down. The leaders, I don't know if they're going to catch him real quick, though. Young has been in and out of the pits a couple of times. Half down that time. It is Mike Bushy, Mark Barnier, Mark Eddy, Jason Leo, Eldred Hutchins, and Eric Williams, your top 6. Barnier looks to the outside. The car that was oh so strong in the qualifier, the semi, seems to be second best right now in this main event. as Mike Bushy, after being towed to the pits after breaking the front end apparently, made the right moves, made the right things he had to fix it, and he is now starting to pull away again from the Zero Barnier. Jason Leo all over the back end of Marchetti for third. And in the battle for fifth, Eric Williams gets to the inside of the 37 of Eldon Hutchins. Hutchins, though, fighting back in three. Will have to give up the spot as Eric gets right by to the left. Now Barnier catches back up to Mike Bushy. Jimmy Young has gone a lap down. That held up the 49 a little bit. Bushy had a tougher time than Barnier did lapping the one. Young gets loose right in front of Eddie. Eddie pulled by. Jason Leo pulls by. Young knows that he is in contact with the leaders, trying to give him room. Right now he's blocking Williams. Dave Foster has spun out of four, refires the car, and Foster will come back on the track in front of the leaders. Tough break for Dave, who is a very quick car, just not having any luck tonight. There will be 20 down the next time by. Any other night, this next lap would make it official. But now we enter the territory that these guys are a little unfamiliar with, laps 21 through 30. And remember, in a couple of weeks, an invitational 100-lap main event for the Flying Tigers. The clouds don't seem to have, no, they're not, haven't gotten much worse, so looks like we're okay right now as far as rain goes. Of course, that could change moment by moment. Big time trouble in three. It involves Chris Fisher and Gary Wood, and this will necessitate a caution. What happened? Chris Fisher went into three way, way hot. Lost the back end, spun it around directly in front of Gary Wood. Gary Wood T-boned the 71. And heavy damage as Gary Wood has a fire in the engine compartment of the 53. Gary Wood, who has not scored a single point in the last 2 weeks, not for lack of trying, looks like he is having severe difficulties for his third week in a row, Rob.
9 laps to go, and I think Mike Bushy is right now in the catbird seat. Barnier tried everything on that last restart. And Bushy, the driver from Franklin, Vermont, was able to pull away from Barnier. And how about the job Mark Eddy's been doing in third? Jason Leo's been looking inside and outside trying to get around Eddy, and he hasn't been able to do it. I'll tell you, Mark Eddy, we were talking earlier this evening, sitting fifth right now in points. It's no surprise when you look at the way he's running this evening.
Well, you know, Mark Eddy, we mentioned Mark Eddy and Brent Dragon for the late model division. They're guys who don't win, but they're always up front, and that's what it takes to win a track championship. They always seem to get consistent finishes. Like you said, Eddy came in fifth in points. Out of his 12 starts, he's been in the top 10 8 times, so 2/3 of his starts, he's been in the top 10. Mike Bushy, by the way, came in 7th in points. He has 2 victories in his 12 starts, and he's been in the top 10 7 times. So Mike Bushy is also a very consistent driver. One of those times he did not finish in the top 10. He planted it in the turn 4 concrete and destroyed the front end, Rob.
All right, we'll take a break on Motorsports Magazine, and when we come back, we'll have more action for the Flying Tiger feature. Stay with us. All right, we have a restart with 20 laps complete, 10 to go. And at this point, Steve Hayes, for Eric Williams, things have gone very smoothly.
Oh, no doubt about it. He's worked his way up to 5th. His advantage, he gets to start on the inside because the outside group of the first 3 rows are Barnier, Leo, and Hutchins. But they're going to have trouble because that Mike Bushy in the front, he is not about to get jumped, I don't think, by that yellow Zero. Here they come out of 4. Barnier tries to jump him. Doesn't get the job done there. And I did, like the last restart, they lay metal to each other. Barnier has to lift to correct. Eddy takes 2nd. Hang on, because Williams is going to try to shoot the gap for 3rd. Here comes Champlain, New York's Mark Eddy. He has moved into 2nd. Picked a good night to do it with double points. Again, Barnier loose in the back end. Williams will take 3rd. Leo ducks down in front of Hutchins. He realizes, I don't want to be behind Barnier. May not be tires, just might be the handling. He came in contact, may have actually bent some, don't know, but Zero car very loose the last 2 laps in turns 1 and 2. Let's see if he does it for 3 times in a row. He sure does. Barnier, all kinds of handling trouble. And the odds of a triple crown are quickly fading for Mr. Barnier. Out front, Mike Bushy. Battle for second. Mark Eddy opens the door. Points leader Eric Williams says, thank you very much. He takes second. Jason Leo going to try to take third. And Eddy loses it. Mark Eddy spins it and Hutchins tags him. Side-by-side contact. No major damage to either automobile. Hutchins continues. He will not be penalized. Caution, it's for the 51 of Eddy. Heartbreak for Champlain, New York's Mark Eddy, running so strong. Maybe the group, because Barnier 3 laps in a row lost the back end. Eddy in the same groove did it. Barnier pits, Rob. Now that's a big story.
Steve, I think Barnier has just run the car too hard and the tires are gone on that Zero car. He's been working the outside groove for almost 20 laps trying to get around Mark Barnier, or trying to get around Mike Bushy rather. And I think the tires are just gone on the Zero, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone in to change tires with 7 laps to go. Who knows?
That's a very good, well, I'll tell you, Mike Bushy should have pretty good tires on. He's been on the inside groove, and though he's been running it pretty hard, he hasn't really been burning those tires too much. But on the restart, what's going to happen here? Mike Bushy and Eric Williams. And I say that because inside the second row of Jason Leo, you know Jason is not about to let Williams cut down.
Eldred Hutchins gets his spot back as he was not the cause of the yellow. Unfortunate break for Mark Eddy. Eddy, who was running very strong, was passed on the inside by Eric Williams. Jason Leo followed through, and unfortunately he just drove the car a little bit too hard into turn 2 in the 51 car. Champlain's Mark Eddy went around.
With 2 of our top 5 guys, Barnier and Eddy, going to the pits, guess who moves into 5th bands? The 18 of Brad Duquette. And the way his year is gone, boy, could he use a top 5 tonight.
All right, 23 laps complete. We have 7 to go, and we'll have them when we come back. You're watching Motorsports Magazine from Airborne. Seven laps to go. Steve Hayes, the cream, is at the top.
And it is all being led by the 49 of Mike Bushy. But the top 3 points guys line up next in line on the grid. Williams, Leo, and Hutchins. To the inside of row 3, the lapped automobile of Jimmy Young. Outside 5th place driver right now, Brad Duquette. Now, boy, Brad would love to switch positions, though. I know he wants to be in the inside for this restart. They're going to take 1 more under caution. Barnier has rejoined. Gary Wood, albeit I believe a lap or 2 down. Yep. He is back. 51 of Mark Eddy, Rob, was coming on the track. They made a quick right turn back to his pits, so apparently he developed another problem. I think the courtesy lap here is for him.
Be interesting, although we'll be following the cars at the front of the pack. Be interesting to see what Mark Barnier can do coming out of the back of the pack. I wouldn't be surprised with 7 to go to see Barnier get pretty well back near the front.
Oh, I think he is definitely en route to a top 10. We'll have to wait and see how far deep in the top 10, but all right, let's get ready. They should get green next time out. It will be Mike Bushy and Eric Williams in the front row. Last Thursday night, mid-season championship night at Thunder Road, rained out, rescheduled for Tuesday, August 9th. Not a normal night of racing at Thunder Road. You may want to circle that. Might be a good night to head over to the nation's site of excitement. Bushy, Williams, nice looking restart as they come out of 4. Eric Williams trying to crowd down, knows that Leo will pass him. There goes Racing Jason, but Williams gets some good, big-time trouble in 2. Bernie Rio loses a tire. Toby Ebersol swerved to avoid him. They are very lucky. That was at the back of the pack. The leaders are going to get a yellow flag. The tire's still flying into the pits. What did we learn on that last restart, Rob? Well, we learned that Eric Williams does not want Jason Leo to go under him.
And that is exactly what he's going to have to fend off, because Leo had just about completed the pass of Williams on the inside. Eric right now is the driver who probably has the most to lose on this restart, stuck on the outside.
Well, I'll guarantee you he definitely has the most to lose. And about Eric's only chance probably to get the lead would be to jump the 49 of Mike Bushy. He has 2 chances to do that, slim and none.
Oh,
so
I don't know. You might speak too early there, Hayes.
I don't think Mike Bushy is about to get jumped on this restart. Remember, the leader sets the pace.
Yeah.
And Mike Bushy has done 2 different restarts so far tonight. He's taken them slow, and then when he had, I think it was Barnier alongside, he gunned it, and he kind of caught Mark, not really asleep, but he caught Mark a little off guard. So I would think that at this restart, about the middle of the turn, you're going to see the 49 step into it and try to catch Eric a step slow.
All right, well, we'll see if that's what happens. When we come back, we'll have a restart. You're watching Motorsports Magazine from Airborne. All right, 23 are in the books. Another restart, 7 to go. Here's Steve Hayes.
No need giving you the names. They remain the same. 49 to the 77 to set him out of the way. Bushy right about the middle of the turn. Looks like he gets into it. Williams crowds him a bit, though. Good move by Eric Williams. Eric Williams kind of figured that, well, if I can keep him close, I might have a chance. Now he drifts wide, but Leo cannot take advantage. Williams is going to have to do his racing for the second group. Normally, that's where he wants to be. As the 49 leads it, the 8 and the 77 run door panel to door panel with Eldon Hutchins in the 37 directly behind them. Now they fall in single file. Leo has passed Williams for second. Loses the back end. Caution. Mark Barnier and Toby Ebersol in trouble. In 2 and up in turn 3, we have Ducat, Miller, and it looks like the Russell Johnson 28 in trouble. All right, Rob, I know what happened in 2. Barnier and Ebersol hit each other. What happened up there in 3?
Not sure, Steve Hayes. Didn't have all of that on film. But I believe those cars should get their spots back as the caution flies for the 0 of Mark Barnier.
Well, if that's the case, Brad will be 5th for the restart. That will be the car to watch because we know he should be 5th on the grid. I'm not sure where the others should be positioned. Thought Brad was going to pit it. That would have thrown that all out the window, but he stays on. Looks like he is going to go back up. All right, well, actually, I was just going to say Leo will be 4th on the outside, but that pass came on the last lap, so nope. Eric is going to have to do it from the second groove again, Rob.
All right, 24 complete now, 6 to go in this Flying Tiger feature. Stay with us. More coming up on Motorsports Magazine. Set for a restart. And it's anybody's call as to who's going to win this one. Here's Steve Hayes.
Well, maybe anybody's call, but odds are it'll come out of the first 2 rows, probably. Mike Bushy, Eric Williams, Jason Leo, Eldon Hutchins. However, you know, if any of those guys have a problem and collect the others, we could easily have a bit of an upset here. Brad Duca could easily pick up the win, but I think for Brad to win, those top 4 may have to come in contact or have difficulties. 24 down, 6 remaining. Mike Bushy, there's that jump. That time, Eric didn't quite keep up with him. And what is Mark Barnier doing? He comes out of the turn. Okay. What you didn't see, fans, is Barnier came out of the pits and had the car sideways and then got into it again. And what it all means, unless he gets moving, he'll be lapped by the leaders. It is. Bushy your leader. But now Leo clearly to the inside of Williams for second. Jason takes the 77 a little bit wide. Another caution. Another caution on the speedway, and your guess is as good as mine as to what this one is for. I'll tell you, it's a break for Mark Barnier, though. He gets to go to the back of the pack and won't get lapped. Oh, there's a car off of 4,
yes,
I guess.
There is.
Don't ask me who it is. It's too dark.
I'll zoom in there and see if I can see.
It is the 04 of Steve Benoit, who is parked it off at turn 4 trying to height. Steve not having the greatest of races tonight. Early in the season, made the first 2-3 shows, led the rookie points. course, right now his brother Danny Benoit leads that.
All right, well, all of a sudden, this race has crawled to a snail's pace as we're completing one lap at a time here and then having a caution flag. Now 25 complete. Now we'll have a restart with 5 to go when we come back to more Flying Tiger feature action on Motorsports Magazine. Bushy and Williams in row 1 with 5 to go.
Row 2, Jason Leo, Eldred Hutchins. Row 3, the lapped automobile of Jimmy Young and Brad Ducat. Let's try it again, guys. 25 down, 5 to go. And again, Bushy had the measure on Eric Williams for the restart. As they come out of 2, Jason Leo will get past Eric Williams again. Hutchins still 4th. 5th in position is the 18 of Brad Ducat. We have trouble out of 4. The 57 of Bob Woods is loose. He'll drive through the infield and rejoin his pals out there. And now Jason Leo decides to take a shot at trying to take the lead from the 49. Seems like a pretty tall order tonight. Bushy wide out of 4th, slide down in front of the 8 of Jason Leo. 3rd is still Williams, 4th is Hutchins. They pulled away a few car lengths from the rest of the pack. 5th now, after just getting by Duque, who's being boxed in a bit by the slower Jimmy Young. 5th, it's the 12 of Dave Foster. Dave was in trouble early. Did not realize he did not lose a lap. 2 to go for Bushy. Came in tonight 7th in points, with Lamberton having difficulties, Mark Eddy having difficulties, and a smoker, and it is the Mark Eddy automobile. Is there fluid on the track? Does not appear to be any. As we are on the last lap, Leo to the back end of Bushy. A gentle tap if there is such a thing. One more set of turns to negotiate. Eddy brings the smoke at 51 real high, stays out of the leader's way. And Mike Bushy picks up the double points tonight. Leo 2nd. Williams will be 3rd. Eldred Hutchins 4th. 5th to the 18 of Duca. That's what I thought. I thought the Foster was lapped. They made a correction. Duca will be 5th. I believe Sawyer will be 6th. And a pretty good run for Duquette and Sawyer. We didn't mention them a whole lot, but they stayed 5th, 6th most of the race. Your top 4. Hutchins in 4th, Williams in 3rd. He'll still be the points leader. 2nd to Leo. And another feature event to the 49 machine of Mike Bushy, Robin. He was the dominant car, no doubt about it.
Sure was. Got to the front early. At first, he held off the challenges of Mark Barnier. Then he held off the challenges of Jason Leo and Eric Williams to take this 30-lap main event for the Flying Tigers. And just think, in 2 weeks, we wouldn't even be halfway done, Steve Hayes.
That is true. 100 laps main event for these guys that night. You can bet there will be several Thunder Road competitors making their way over here to try the 100-lap main event here, and should be quite interesting to say the least.
All right, finishing 3rd, 77. That's Eric Williams, our point leader. And again, he will be none the worse for wear after tonight's finish. 2nd, Jason Leo, who is 2nd in points, car number 8. And the winner, Franklin, Vermont's car number 49, Mike Bushy. Stay with us, folks. More racing action. We'll have late models coming up next on Motorsports Magazine. All right, we're set for the late model Sportsman feature. Couple of notes before the feature gets underway. First of all, we apologize. We were not able to talk to Dave Whitcomb. We talked about in the opening. We wanted to speak to all of our point leaders coming in on the evening. Whitcomb, unfortunately, was busy working on the engine on car 25, and he was not able to get away from that work. And the second note is to keep in mind that the man who was 2nd in points coming into this race this evening, Steve Renadette, is not in the field. He left to go home back to Essex Junction about 2 hours ago. And Renadette is not here. 40 laps the distance. Here's the lineup. Gordon Adams on the pole. Galen Wood sits on the outside. Row 2, it's Norm Gay and Robin Wood. Row 3, Glenn Wright and Tony Poisson. Row 4 on the inside, it's Rod Weed and Danny Bridges on the outside. Row 5, it is Bucko Branham and Joe Thomas. Row 6. Let's take that back. Skip Danny Bridges in there. Then Bucko Branham, Joe Thomas, Billy Fountain, Peter Fecto, Ron Weston, Doug Hoare, Scott Carpenter, Brent Dragon, and Dave Whitcomb. 21 cars, 40 laps the distance. The green is out. Galen Wood high off the backstretch, and we have a tangle. Bucko Branham is spun. He refires the car. Everybody headed in the right direction. Gordon Adams will lead the first lap. Galen Wood stuck on the outside. Running second, Norm Gay. Third right now is Wood, but Glenn Wright is underneath. And he's going to take the third spot right now. Wood cuts it down in front of Robin Wood for the fourth spot. But now he's high down the backstretch. Contact. And Galen Wood sent into the infield. Car spins. Gets it headed in the right direction, and he'll rejoin, albeit at the rear of the field. Glenn Wright looks underneath Norm Gay for second. Gay shuts that door. Battle for fourth right now. It's Danny Bridges to the inside of Robin Wood. Down the backstretch, Robin Wood is slowed. Two cars pass on the outside. Doug Hoare makes it 3 wide to get the job done. Joe Thomas moves around Robin Wood. Now Scott Carpenter looks to do the same. Brent Dragon, who runs third in points, could be looking at the second spot, should be, or maybe even the top spot by the time the evening's done. Doug Hoare runs the outside, car 46. The question is, can he preserve the tires? Hoare works the outside, trying to get around Danny Bridges. But how much is he taking out of the tires? 7 laps complete. Challenge for second. Glenn Wright looks to the inside of Norm Gay again. Norm shuts the door as they head into turn 3. Still at the front, it's Gordon Adams. And he has pulled away as Gay and Wright have battled for second. Second is Gay. Third is Glenn Wright. Fourth is the 46 of Doug Hoare. Fifth is Danny Bridges. Sixth is Joe Thomas. Seventh is Scott Carpenter. Billy Fountain runs 8th. Ninth is Brent Dragon. And points leader Dave Whitcomb runs 10th. They're the top 10 with 9 down in this 40-lap main event for the late model Sportsman. Milton, Vermont's Gordon Adams still leads it. Looks like at this point, Glenn Wright's going to make a move down the backstretch for second. He has room underneath Norm Gay. Gay a little bit high, 3 wide out of turn 4. And second is now Glenn Wright. Wright takes over second. Doug Hoare is going to get the third spot. Doug Hoare is the fastest car on the track right now, car 46. Looks to the outside of Glenn Wright. The driver of the Dodge Intrepid again. How much is he burning up those tires? Will he have enough left for the extra distance? We've seen Doug do this before in features. Get to the front quickly. But the tire tires go away. He hasn't been able to hold on to the spot. And he has quickly closed the gap between the leader, Gordon Adams, and himself. As you see, he now runs half a car length behind Adams. And it's only a matter of time before the Dodge Intrepid gets to the top spot. Adams opens up down the back stretch. Doug Hoare inserts his foot and he's got the lead. Doug Hoare from Colchester, Vermont leads it. Gordon Adams runs second. Third is Glenn Wright. Norm Gang fourth. Danny Bridges fifth. Joe Thomas sixth. Scott Carpenter is seventh. Galen Wood takes the car pit side. Eighth, Billy Fountain. Ninth is Brent Dragon. Peter Fecto 10th. And 11th is Dave Whitcomb. Now Fecto makes a move underneath Brent Dragon. Billy Fountain that time sideways out of turn 4. Doug Hoare leads Adams by 3 car lengths. Now making about 10. Adams second, Glenn Wright is third. 18 complete. So far the race has gone caution-free. 21 cars started the main event. Pass for second, Glenn Wright underneath Gordon Adams as Adams drifted high out of 2. Even pushed back to third. Glenn Wright now runs second as he now is in pursuit of leader Doug Hoare. Norm Gay runs fourth. We're halfway. Fifth is Danny Bridges. Sixth, Joe Thomas. Seventh, Scott Carpenter. Eighth, Peter Fecto. Billy Fountain, ninth. Now 10th as Whitcomb moves underneath to take over the ninth spot. Fountain stuck on the outside. Battles back. Billy loops out of 2. He's going to lose a couple of spots. Now he's back to 11th. Doug Hoare has already worked lap traffic. He passed the 6 of Rod Weed and the 19 of David Gay. 22 laps are in the books, and Doug Hoare has almost a full straightaway lead over the 48 of Glenn Wright. Leader Dave Whitcomb to the inside of 1993 track champion Scott Carpenter. Carpenter earlier this evening off into the woods. No damage to the car. This time by it'll be 26 complete for Doug Hoare, who has a straightaway lead over Glenn Wright. There's Wright in second. Running third is Gordon Adams. Danny Bridges is fourth. Joe Thomas is fifth. Peter Fecto up to sixth. Seventh is Dave Whitcomb. Eighth is Scott Carpenter. Ninth is Brent Dragon. 10th is Billy Fountain. Running 11th is Norm Gay. 12th is Ron Weston in the 35. 13th is Ron LaMelle Jr. 14th, Bucko Branham. 15th is Tony Poisson. 16th is Robin Wood. And Lockerbie is 17th. And they're about to be lapped as there's our race leader, Doug Hoare. 17 cars on the lead lap. This race has gone caution-free. Doug Hoare works lap traffic. 29 complete for Doug Hoare. And he's got a walk in the park right now. The last thing Doug Hoare wants is a caution. He has a straightaway lead over Glenn Wright. 10 to go for Colchester, Vermont's Doug Hoare. Their second place runner, Glenn Wright. Running third, Gordon Adams. Fourth, Danny Bridges. Peter Fecto is now fifth. He made a pass on Joe Thomas. Thomas runs sixth. Seventh is Dave Whitcomb. Eighth, Scott Carpenter. Ninth, Brent Dragon. Billy Fountain is 10th. Here's the point leader. He currently runs ahead of third place point man Brent Dragon. Of course, Steve Renadette is not in the main event. Renadette left early. Uncorked the engine in practice, he's not even here. Danny Bridges looks to take over third from Gordon Adams. Leader Doug Hoare puts a lap on Tony Poisson. Peter Fecto joins the battle now for fourth as he tries to make a pass off Bridges on the outside. Again, this is for third. Gordon Adams runs third. Fourth is now Peter Fecto. Fifth, Danny Bridges. Hey, how about the job Gordon Adams has done? A rookie Adams in about his fifth week of competition. Out of nowhere, running third in the 40-lap main event. 6 to go. It'd be a great finish for Gordon Adams. Glenn Wright running second, another fine performance. Fecto down the backstretch will take over the third spot. Sends Gordon Adams back to fourth on the outside. Rod Weed is slowed in between turns 3 and 4. With 4 to go, let's set the field for you. Our leader's already gone by. He has a half a track lead over Glenn Wright, who runs second. Third is Peter Fecto. Fourth, Gordon Adams. Fifth, Danny Bridges. Sixth, Joe Thomas. Seventh, Dave Whitcomb. Eighth is Scott Carpenter. This is a battle for ninth between Billy Fountain, who now is ninth. 10th is Brent Dragon. We have a spin. With 3 to go, we have a spin. And that's the last thing that Doug Hoare wanted to see. Ron Lamel is parked on the inside of turn 4. Steve Hayes, I have not seen a race dominated like this at Airborne in a long time.
Doug Hoare has by far the most superior late model here tonight. 37 laps of green flag action. Took him 14 of those laps to get past the pole sitter Gordon Adams for the lead. And since then, he has simply pulled away from everybody.
He has lapped half of the field. Second place runner Glenn Wright was a half a track behind him.
A very good run, by the way, for Glenn Wright. Tied coming in tonight with Robin Wood for 11th. And he is definitely en route to his best finish of the year. And how about pole sitter Gordon Adams? He's only had 3 starts here this year. He's a rookie. He has never been in the top 10. He'll line up as the 4th place car with 3 to go.
All right, 3 laps to go. They've pushed the Lamel car. It's moving once again. But you talk about domination. We've seen it tonight. If there actually was any justice with this race, I think they'd put Doug Hoare in front of the pace car by half a track.
Hey, it would seem fitting, wouldn't it? You know, just to make matters worse for Glenn Wright and Pete Fecto and the rest, there are 4 lap cars between Doug and second place Glenn Wright.
All right, 3 to go for Doug Hoare. And when we come back, we'll have the conclusion for the late model Sportsman main event. Laps to go, 37 complete. Only one car that started the race has left the track. That's Galen Wood in the 79. 21 started, 20 still running. Doug Hoare on the point. He's the leader. Then the lap car of Dave Gay, the lap car of Tony Poisson. Robin Wood's a lap car. at Lockerbie's a lap car. Their second place man, Glenn Wright. Third is Peter Fecto. Fourth is the 55 of Gordon Adams. Fifth is Danny Bridges. Sixth is Dave Whitcomb. And seventh is the car to the outside of Whitcomb. That is Joe Thomas. Green is out once again for Doug Hoare. Little question, I think, that Hoare is going to win this one. The battle will be for second. Peter Fecto in front of Glenn Wright takes the second spot, as that inside groove was just a little bit faster, and Peter Fecto takes over second. Doug Hoare back out in front once again. Glenn Wright now third. Fourth is Danny Bridges. Fifth, Gordon Adams. Adams tries to fight back on the outside. White flag is set to fly on Doug Hoare. Here he comes, out of four for the final time. Domination. The winner is Doug Hoare. Peter Fecto second, Glenn Wright third. Danny Bridges fourth. Dave Whitcomb brings it home fifth. Sixth, I believe, goes to the zero of Brent Dragon. And then after that, well,
let the scores figure it out.
that's right. Watch it, hopefully you taped it and then watch it again on instant replay. Slow motion. So Steve Hayes, we talked after the last restart. 46 seemed invincible. Indeed he was. He dominated the event like no car has this year in any of the other main events.
There's no doubt about it. He was the car to beat. He proved it real quickly. And now he has 3 feature wins in 9 starts this year. He started 14th in points tonight. Boy, did he gain a bunch, though, as he wins it. Second to Fecto, and he was about the only other car on the track that could have maybe stayed with the 46, and I don't think he could have even done that. But Pete was also very fast. He moved through traffic quickly. And how about third place for Glenn Wright?
Great job. Steve, I think the only car that might have hung with Doug Hoare tonight was not here. That's probably car 45, Brian Hoare's car.
Hey, well, Brian was here, just the car was. And I imagine the reason for that is regional race tomorrow at Thunder Road. Brian wanted nothing wrong with that car when he drakes the green tomorrow.
All right, there's Glenn Wright. He finishes third in the Children's Miracle Network. Car number 48.
You had second place in the bag if you let late caution. You got stuck to the outside.
Riverview Garage sponsored car number 75 for Peter Fecto takes second. And the winner, the Goss Dodge Intrepid number 46. Doug Hoare out of Colchester, Vermont.
I really have to thank 4 people especially.
Stay with us. Street Stock action coming up next on Motorsports Magazine. The final event of the evening is on the Speedway. It's the Street Stocks. We get to go 20 laps tonight. Steve Hayes gets to call all of the action.
Oh, truly something I've been dying to do all night. 22 automobiles set to go for 20 laps. So the customary 15 for the Mini Maniacs. Up front, the 45 of Lloyd Mortis and the 30 of Matt Tracy. In row 2, the 11 of Jim Barno, the 43 of Ken Misek. Row 3 occupied by the 72 Curtis LaGrave and the 75 of Chuck Farnsworth. Farnsworth won a qualifier earlier. Row 4 to the inside, Sonny Reeves to the outside, Keith Nolan. Top 10 right out by Tony Broussard and Andrew Carey. Here they come, Mortis and Tracy take up to the stripe. In the qualifier, Matt Tracy had a very loose automobile. If it gets loose now, he's going to have a bunch of cars collecting them. Misek, the loose automobile with the 43, they'll send him 4 wide out of 2. Farnsworth making the move with the blue and yellow 75 machine. Mortis, your leader, he takes it wide. Barno drives completely off the track to try to pass him. As some of these guys got awful close to the turn 4 embankment. It is Mortis, LaGrave, and Nolan, your top three. The middle of the pack back are 2, 3, 4 wide at a couple of spots. And a lot of drivers holding their breath going, oh boy. Our Fane car, the one of Kevin Trombley, running dead last right now, but looking at the bright side, you can see everyone else very well. He will not finish there. There's a prediction for you. Of course, that usually means because I figure someone ends up out of the race. It is the 45 of Mortis, continuing to lead the black 72 of LaGrave. Behind him, here's a couple of cars you have to always watch. The 01 Enola, the 75 of Farnsworth. Farnsworth, already a feature victory in his pocket this year. Trouble up front, and it is the leader who turns it around. Oh, and he gets tagged by the 39 of Sonny Reeves. Sheet metal, a bumper, and who knows what else. Scattering the backstretch, Rob. Caution on the speedway and a black flag for Curtis LaGrave. And I'm not sure if Curtis liked that. It looked like he trouble on the front. Okay, Dave Perrin didn't quite see the caution, almost rear-ended the 99, but the 72 LaGrave gets the black to make the black car go to the pits.
Steve, I didn't see the incident.
I didn't either, in all honesty.
Neither did the fans at home.
Well, I kind of turned and saw the 45 of Mortis facing the wrong way in a one-way street, but apparently they say LaGrave got a piece of him.
And with 3 down, we'll come back with a restart and some more action from this street stock main event. You're watching Motorsports Magazine from Airborne. With 3 down, the field has been realigned and there have been changes at the front.
Well, no matter what kind of changes they have made, and basically it's LaGrave going to the back and the leader not coming out of the pits yet, it will be Keith Nolan and Charles Farnsworth to set them on their way. Row 2, Varno Doss Jr. Row 3 is Broussard and Dugan. In row 4, Gwinnett Trombley. Row 5, Sean Fountain and Dane Gibbs. Nice tight pack of automobiles come to the stripe. 3 down, 17 to go. Dan Gibbs the first to go 3 wide into 1. Trouble out in the turn as Ralph Doss Jr., I don't know if he got a bump or if the car broke loose. Did a good job bringing it back under control though, the 61. Lost a lot of positions. Was 5th, now about 12th. Up front, Farnsworth powers to the inside to take the lead this time by. The door is open for the 11 of Varno, and he will go to the inside of Nolan to take second. Now Broussard trying to follow through, and a whole lot of automobiles looking at that inside group. Glennup splits Broussard and Nolan, and Keith Nolan is getting past 2 at a time now. There we go. Duggan comes to life with a 2. He dives to the inside to get a position. It is Farnsworth, Varno, Broussard, your top 3. Corey Trombley came in heavy-duty contact, and now he gets T-boned by Matt Tracy and then turns Kurt LaGrave around, and now Trombley turning Matt Tracy back around. Trouble started prior to that, though. It may have been Dan Gibbs. It was. You look at the back bumper, the 92, and it's hanging. Dan Gibbs came up into Corey Trombley. Trombley, too. This time, Broussard gets it straightened. Sean Fountain dives to the inside, but Broussard is blocking him a bit. Farnsworth still your leader, trying to pull away. Difficult to do with this race. This time by with 8 down, 12 to go. It is Farnsworth, Duggan, Varno, your top 3. But battling for third and points leader, Brian Pugh. The bumper is hanging on, and not by a whole lot, to the back end of the 92. And if that bumper comes off, we could have a major problem as the car could easily get collected by it. Let's hope it doesn't go through the windshield area. Black flag for the 92, and you have to admit that was the right call. That thing goes through the windshield, you have got a major problem on your hands. Farnsworth your leader, Duggan Russ second, Pugh third, Dan Gibbs, who will be sent to the pits, 4th on track, but due to make a bit of a pit stop. 5th, Varno. Dan Gibbs goes to the outside. This time he will pit the 92. Tough break. Dan's second to, well, he won't pit. Dan is second to Brian Pugh, and I'll tell you what Dan Gibbs is waiting for. He is praying for a caution flag. Up front, a terrific three-car battle for number 1 position. Farnsworth and Duggan with Brian Pugh all over their back ends. Varno runs 4. Good up fit. Danny Gibbs has slowed up to 92. Looks like he has given up, praying for the caution, and will retire under green. Duggan turned around and won. Everybody avoids him except the 01 of Nolan. I'm not sure what happened there, as I turned and Duggan was sideways, was running second at the time, and it was the 01 of Nolan who tagged him after the fact, but the 01 wasn't responsible, Rob, but I got a feeling you do know what happened.
Uh-oh.
Would that be the 29?
Yep.
Well, we talked to Brian earlier. We tried to talk to all the points leaders, and from the gesture given by Chief Starter Butch Henry, let me see if I'm right here, Rob. I think you saw it. Did Brian get a piece of Leo Duggan?
Yep.
Okay, well, 10 down, 10 to go. They could put Brian in the back of the pack, and he probably will still win this thing, but it won't be as easy. He's really going to have to hustle now. And that 75 car we didn't mention a lot about. We told you earlier, he won one about 3 weeks ago, and everything's went sour since then. He might be en route to that second victory of the year. He looks strong, Rob.
Got a good shot with some of the top cars now at the back of the pack. I'll tell you, a great break for the 92 of Gibbs, as you said during the call of the race, that he was waiting for a caution.
Oh, no doubt about it. You knew he was waiting for a caution, and you could go a couple of laps out here before they really take into consideration that you're misbehaving by not adhering to a black. And he had no problems there. As a matter of fact, he was pitting the automobile when the caution came out.
Okay, we'll come back with a restart. You're watching Motorsports Magazine Street Stock action from Airborne. Halfway through this Street Stock main event, and Chuck Farnsworth is the leader.
And outside the first row, the 11 of Jim Varno. Varno, just a recent competitor here, only been here about 2 or 3 weeks, but right now he is running second. Inside row 2, the lap 30 of Matt Tracy. Outside, the third place driver, the 60 of Terry Gunnup. Row 3 are the fourth and fifth place drivers, Sean Found, Tony Broussard. Back of the pack, remember this, Brian Pugh, Dan Gibbs. Here they come out of 4. It is Farnsworth. Well, it was Farnsworth. Varno, about halfway out of the turn, came to life, but he loses that momentum up in the turn. Gunnup will take second. 3 wide with a slower Tracy in between, coming out of the turn. Matt Tracy getting the feel of that 30 car over the last couple of weeks. 11 down, 9 to go. Farnsworth hits the stripe first with Gunnup. Rea hits back bumper, then Jim Varno. 3 wide behind, and I'll tell you what, fans, that 81 car of Bob Wells, new car, same number, and it's making the same type of move. There goes a bumper flying, and Andrew Carey right in the driver compartment.
Oh.
Danny Gibbs pits. That bumper came flying off. It did not go in the car, but it hit right in the windshield area of Andrew Carey's car. Almost guarantee he didn't get a piece of the bumper, but I'll tell you what, his heart skipped a beat, I'll guarantee it.
Sure did. Now we got Brunel Asphalt.
Oh, I did see that. I saw Dan Gibbs go flying there, but apparently he didn't like the way the letters were arranged.
Just nudged the sign.
Well, he nudged it hard enough that the H is scrunched up a bit, but boy, Dan Gibbs has not had a good night, has he? He gets involved in an incident where it tears off the back bumper, forces him in the pits, and then on the restart goes after the Brunel Asphalt banner on the backstretch.
That's asphalt.
Okay, if you say so.
All right, now 11 down, 9 to go. Restart coming up. 11 laps complete. The 92 car of Gibbs rejoins at the rear of the field, although he does have a shattered windshield to show from the incident. Steve Hayes?
That will definitely cause problems with visibility. Wouldn't take much for that to shatter, even worse, I'll guarantee you. Up front, the 75 of Farnsworth, the 60 of Gunnup. Right behind him, the 11 of Arno and the 91 of Fountain. Terry Gunnup powers on the outside groove, but he's not going to be able to take the lead. Kind of set it a bit wide, I hope, to get a little momentum coming off the turn. Didn't quite work. He was able to tuck down, though, in front of Fountain. Now going to move to the inside of the leader. That's the move he needed to make. Farnsworth is in no man's land as everybody's going to line up to his left to try to pass him. Doss comes in contact with the back end of Varno. Varno was running fourth, but he's passed by virtually everybody now. No caution on the speedway. Varno is moving. 41, a new competitor. Lowell Hart, he is also spun but moving. Terry Gunnup is the new leader. Sean Fountain runs second. Former leader Chuck Farnsworth sits third with Tony Broussard and Ralph Doss Jr. currently rounding out the top five. Points leader Brian Pugh is up to seventh. Now back to eighth as Nolan moved back under him through turn two. Terry Gunnup the leader. He has Sean Fountain and Chuck Farnsworth drastically reeling him in. Doss moved past Broussard for fourth. Ralph Doss may have something to say about this. 13 down, 7 to go. The 61 car seems to have gathered some speed. Varno pitting the 11 automobile. Looks like he has a flat. Good reason to pit. Back up front. The red and black 60 of Terry Gunnup. Trying to pull away from Sean Fountain, but not very successful in doing so. Working around the slower 41 machine of Lowell Hart. Gunnup gonna go to the inside. Same move he used to take the lead. Fountain will do the same. Farnsworth will go under. As long as the 41 stays high, there won't be a problem. 5 to go for the 60 machine. And if anybody's going to make a move, they better start thinking about it now. Because Brian Pugh has moved up to fifth, so obviously he has a quick automobile. Farnsworth and Fountain come together in 4. Trouble up in 3. Nolan involved. Wells involved. Lowell Hart involved. Kurt LaGrave involved. All but the 41 of Hart have continued. Lowell Hart is stalled to 41 in the racing group. It'll bring out a caution. Well, actually, this could be quite interesting because on the restart, your top 5 guys, which are running rather closely together, it's going to have the inside third row, Brian Pugh. This could be a real fun 3-lap dash, Rob.
Oh, it sure could. 3 to go. And tell you what, Gunnup and Fountain going to have their work cut off, holding off some of the cars behind them.
Well, especially Sean. He'll be forced to the outside unless he gets the jump on the leader, Terry Gunnup. Farnsworth will probably duck under him. And, of course, inside the third row is Brian Pugh. So Sean Fountain and Ralph Doss Jr. stuck on the outside. That's definitely going to hurt them.
3 laps remain in the street stock feature. Steve Hayes, what's up next week here at Airborne?
I am glad you asked. Regular show for our 3 weekly divisions, but it is poster night. So any of the kids planning to attend, why don't you bring a poster of your favorite car and or driver or whatever else associated with the world of automobile racing. Getting set for the final 3 laps. We hope they will be run in succession under green with no yellow interruptions. Gunnup and Fountain in the front row, and they are not really in order, but the green flies anyway. Sean Fountain able to protect himself from starting the outside as Farnsworth let up, so Fountain pulled in front of him. Doss is stuck to the outside, but there is an opening in front of Brian Pugh. There will be 2 to go this time by. Brian Pugh gets it back out of Farnsworth. The 75 gets turned. There's that luck I told you about. All bad lately for the 75. Caution comes out. Now, you said earlier, Brian got a piece of the 2 of Leo Duggan. Let's see. And this, more or less, they kind of ran with the same piece of real estate. Let's see if there's a call made here. I don't think there will be, but we'll see.
I think there will be.
I say that because nobody walked over to the car right then, and normally if, well, Chief Starter Butch Henry just climbed down, though. It's not a good sign, is it? I don't think he's out there to realign the field. You know, when we talked to Brian before, now they're talking to him up in 3 now. when we talked to Brian before the night, Al Farnsworth arguing the point, Brian was in pretty good mood, wasn't he? He's not in that good a mood right now. It is a tough break for the driver, the number 29. Once again, in case you're wondering and you missed the beginning of the show, where's Rick Frenier? Well, he had a problem last week after the races. And from what we understand, the penalty he has incurred is a 2-week suspension and a $100 fine. But missing this double points night is a big enough penalty, Rob.
Sure is. That's where it's going to hurt the most. The 2 weeks that he has been given off by track officials is he's going to lose all points for those 2 weeks. And he was sitting second. Really going to hurt him.
All right, the penalty has been given. Farnsworth and Brian Pugh will both be at the back of the pack. So your front 5 will be, with 3 to go, Terry Grunup, Sean Fountain in row 1, Ralph Doss Jr., Tony Broussard in row 2, and Leo Dugan in the inside row 3. And here's a break for Danny Gibbs. Remember him? Looked like he'd have to go in the pits under green. He's up to 6th, and of course Brian's going to pass some cars, but looks like Danny will make up some points on the leader. Danny came in second in points. Rick Frenier was third.
All right, we're set for the restart. 3 to go.
The 01 of Nolan lost a tire to caution. He's in the pits. And the 71 of Broussard was 4th. He is in the pits. He was smoking up a storm. Grunup and Fountain in the front row. Doss Jr. Dugan in row 2. 5th is the 92 of Dan Gibbs. Danny Gibbs says, hey, the points leader is a few positions behind. Boy, would a victory right now be nice. Trouble, and the leaders are involved. Sean Fountain got sideways, got into Danny Gibbs. Brian Pugh's in trouble at 4. 2 to go. Pugh continues. Boy, oh boy, the points are going to get shuffled now. Terry Grunup a lap and a half away from a win. Ralph Doss Jr. about the only car right now with a chance of taking it away from him. Here they come. They'll get the white flag. 3rd is Fountain, 4th is Dugan, 5th is the 81 of Bob Wells. The last lap of competition, and Terry Grunup looks like he might just pull off the double point victory. Ralph Doss Jr. closes in turn 3. Behind him, battle for 3rd, Fountain Dugan, but as they come out of 4, give the checker to the guy in the 60, Terry Grunup. 2nd to Ralph Doss Jr., 3rd to Sean Fountain. Leo Dugan was 4th, Bob Wells 5th. 6th, 7th, and 8th call it between Corey Trombley, Dave Parrott, and Dan Gibbs. They were thinking about a 3 wide out of the turn to decide it. They were very close for position 6, 7, and 8. And Brian Pugh did get by a couple, but boy, didn't help his points title much, did it?
Going to lose a few points to the Gibbs car as well as to those other cars up by the front. Good job by Grunup as he pulls away his first victory of the year in car number 60. Steve Hayes, final thoughts on the evening's racing card.
Terrific night of racing with double points online. I'll tell you what, when they came in, you figure, well, you know, some of these guys might get a little reckless out there. I'd say these divisions behave themselves very, very well because 37 straight green flag laps of late model sportsman competition. You don't see that very often. Doug Hoare, a fine victory to win his 3rd of the year. Here, Terry Grunup carrying the checker in the street stock main event. And in the 30-lap Flying Tiger event, it was Mike Bushy picking up a win. Of course, you may remember Mike Bushy driving the old Rockin' Ron Klein 28 machine. Bushy's parked it in victory lane, 3 or 4 times now, I guess.
Okay, next week, regular card here at Airborne. It is poster night. So everyone bring out their favorite poster of Steve Hayes.
I don't think so. And remember, in 2 weeks, the Flying Tigers are highlighted with a 100-lap main event invitational show.
That'll be a great race.
And a lot of cars from Thunder Road, I'm sure, planning to head on over.
All right, we thank you for joining us this evening on Motorsports Magazine. We hope you have enjoyed the program, and we look forward to seeing you next week once again on your local cable access channel. For Steve Hayes, this is Rob Knowles. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you at Airborne.